Hey guys, this is for men over 40, how to make small talk so fun, it's hard to end the conversation. Okay, number one is no teasing, cold reads, banter, or weird pickup artist bullshit. So I was on a Zoom coaching call, one where guys practice dating and approaching on me, and I give them feedback on how to improve. And there was this confident, articulate, quite spiritual, pretty likable guy. I was talking to him, and as soon as I asked him to approach me, it was like he just morphed into someone completely different, someone pretty weird. He goes, "So I'm feeling this strong goth vibe from you," while waving his hands in front of me like he was about to start massaging my breasts or something. Um, so this is what I was thinking after that. First of all, it's just an obvious pickup line. It's so obvious. It's so unnatural. And yes, it might invite me to reply to correct him, but me or any other remotely attractive women would just automatically think this guy is a moron. Like, what is he thinking? And he's a moron who's just trying way too hard to be smart or clever or just use something ingenuine just to make me talk to him. So many times in my 20s, in my modeling days, these hot, well presented, seemingly confident guys would come up to me, and sometimes I'm thinking, wow, this looks interesting. And then he just comes up with this obvious lame pickup line, and I immediately just think, okay, what a dick. I'm just not attracted whatsoever. And if a guy is being fake right from the beginning, and yes, us women can see through this, then why on earth would we even bother? The girl may give you her number just as a path of least resistance, usually just to get rid of you. And most of the time it's easy to give you a fake number or even give you her real one, but then just never reply to you. So yeah, sometimes you guys might have tried this in the past, these weird pickup lines, and you might have got somewhere with it, but most of the time if you got her number, it's just her trying to get rid of you. Yeah, guys, this stuff, yeah, women can see straight through it, and we're immediately going to be judging you negatively for doing that kind of stuff. So here's James. We're going to be talking to you about some of the stuff you should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, you probably see a girl you like and you're like, oh, I'd really, really love to be able to go talk to her, but you're scared of getting rejected. So in most cases you don't, especially the post-Harvey Weinstein era. Or, I mean, this happened to me quite a few times. You've been out on a date with a girl and you really, really like her, and it's going good, but then at some point, I don't know, something goes wrong and you never see her again and she wants to leave. So yeah, tonight's designed to solve these problems forever for you. Just quickly so you understand, in my late 20s, early 30s, I was like, very successful in my career, good public speaker, good at sport, whatever, probably close to the peak of my physical attractiveness. So I could literally speak in public to like 1,000 people. But if my manager or my assistant said, oh, it's a little bit weird out there, you want to go out and talk to people before the seminar, I'd be like, oh, I'd shit myself. And literally in my tailored Hugo Boss suits or whatever I was wearing, I'd literally go into the bathroom, pull my suit pants down and just sit there and wait for my speech to start. Because I was fine with hopping up on stage and crapping on for 3 hours about a subject I knew very well. No problem at all. My heart rate wouldn't change. But if I had to cold approach some 70-year-old lady looking for investment advice or some rich 55-year-old, I was terrified. Why is this? Because I lacked one fundamental skill, which you could argue is the single most important skill in life. I didn't have small talk skills. Even though I had really good public speaking skills. I made some pretty good money out of public speaking and entertained people to some extent. So yeah, tonight is about how to give you those small talk skills without, oh, your nose wiggles when you talk, or who lies more, or whatever it was, you got this goth vibe happening or something. So yeah, just to touch on Tessa's great intro, just to be upfront about it, on YouTube, the intro is everything. That's how we keep new viewers watching, and some of our regular viewers going, yeah, I'll stick around for this. So we do rehearse those, and the first sort of minute or two is scripted, but the rest of it is just Tess and I crapping on about my 19 years of coaching experience and her 6 or 7, and I don't know, is it thousands yet? Certainly many, many hundreds, if not 1,000 Zoom calls where she's coaching guys. So yeah, back to a lot of the stuff that gets into popular culture. Starts off with pickup artists like whatever Mystery Method or David D'Angelo, Eben Pagan, and it became so mainstream because that best-selling book, it just weaves its way down to popular culture. You might not even know what a pickup artist is, but you start doing this weird stuff, and YouTube and the sort of harassing girls on the streets on YouTube is full of it. So yeah, what the guy did is called cold reading. Tess was wearing a black high neck top, and he goes, oh, what am I going to open with? Oh, she looks like a goth. Tess, could you just explain why you're about as far from a goth as is humanly possible in terms of surfing, yogi, paragliding, not just or something?
Yeah, I'm definitely a very, very outdoorsy person. I'm into, surfing, paragliding, camping. I just love being outdoors in general. I love the sun. I just pretty much don't identify with, sort of goth emo vibes whatsoever. So, yeah, it was literally just because I was wearing a black top. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this guy might be watching. There's nothing wrong with him. He was like an intelligent guy who made okay money. It's just the people he's following. So yeah, what is going on, and what's so much of the self-help industry, which has now found its way onto AI. We're going to talk a lot about some of the horrible advice you get off AI in a bit. What's happening is it's just people copying people. So some clever marketer who's trying to help men with dating, he found out, the CIA and all these intelligence agencies, a cold read is a very, very effective way to get information out of a person they ordinarily wouldn't get you, because there's a big desire in humanity to correct one another. But if you're giving this to some guy who's, just trying to get a date or just trying to talk to some pretty girl, he's got no idea what he's doing. If you want to attempt this stuff, which I don't suggest you do, you've got to be a master at reading signals. I mean, we've never coached a client in basically 20 years, since 2006, who's really good at this. So there's so many things that you might think you're doing that have just destroyed us. So if any of you have any questions or any techniques that you guys use, we'd love to help you a little bit more with that. Tess, you obviously modeled quite a bit in your 20s. I know that you were in New York for quite a time when you were 18 or 19. I'm just throwing you in the deep end here. Do you have any examples of, or from your friends of, Jackie and Nevena and Natalia have dozens. Have you got any examples where some guy who, looked good, dressed well, looked confident, good body language, came up to you and just said something ridiculous, and he's like, oh. And just the way, I think what you said when we were planning this, you just dismissed the guy out of hand. It's like, loser. Did you say about the number?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is something you've got to get through your heads, because this is, I think, so valuable. Because what guys do is they copy this stuff, and because they're just trying to get started, they get the girl to talk to them by using pickup lines or using these cold read things, and they're like, oh, I'm making progress. The attractive girl's actually talking to me, but immediately she just thinks you're a dick, even if she could be attracted to you otherwise. So they think they're making progress. And the guys who invented this used to keep spreadsheets about how many approaches they did, how many got past 2 minutes, how many got a phone number, how many resulted in a date. And it was virtually none of the hundreds of approaches they did that results in dates. I was sort of friends with some of these people, if you can call it a friendship. And so they think by getting a phone number, they're making progress. But just to explain, if some weird, awkward pickup artisty guy goes, oh, it was great talking to you, and you've just been talking for 5 minutes, and he hands you your phone, what are you most likely to do? He's saying, no, I'm not giving you my number. I don't find you attractive, or you're weird, or even I'm in a relationship, or I've got a boyfriend, potentially a fictional boyfriend. Or do you just give him the number? What would you do? Or give him a fake number?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe give him a fake number, or just put my number in and be like, yeah, cool, okay, so yeah, nice to meet you, bye. You know, a great exit strategy. Yeah, you know, sometimes if she isn't, she's polite and nice enough, she'll kind of go along with it. But the impression that you've given straight off the bat is just, okay, this guy's trying way too hard. Especially for like, you know, well-dressed, attractive guys who really you don't have to do too much. You don't have to do too much. You don't like, you really don't have to try that hard. You know, when you, in New York, there are lots of really attractive people in New York. They're all like, you know, I think like the majority of people living there are like models and bankers and lots of attractive people. I can't even remember the specific pickup lines, because when guys say them, immediately I'm just like, ew, go away. But you know, they're just like weird jokes or something that it's like, what? I didn't even get that. Or like, what are you trying to do straight away to get my attention? Like, all you have to do is be genuine and engage with me, you know, like especially for attractive guys who have a lot going for them. Just stop forcing it, you know. Pickup lines are just so forced. Terrible.
The second a girl who has options senses you're doing something fake, it's like, no. I mean, the majority of women, even though they've been brainwashed to think otherwise, when they deal with men, they're essentially picturing a relationship at the end of it. So if your first step pitching a relationship is, I'm weird, I'm lying, I'm being fake already, I mean, just no, go away. And the thing is, you know, the evolutionary biology of Darwin, which I go on and on about, women, when they do have affairs, they're nearly always having affairs with guys they'd really like to have a relationship with, or as relationship potential. They're not just banging random average dudes. Whereas men, we just bang random average, whatever we can bang, we bang it. So guys don't understand women. An example from my life, I was completely atrocious with women, but as I may have talked about some other ones of these, I went shopping with a girl I was living in New York, funnily enough, in Brooklyn, and she bought me this absolutely beautiful shirt. It was Dolce & Gabbana. But I never spent money on clothes. I thought it was just the biggest waste of money. You don't need to buy expensive shirts. You just go to a tailor or just get something that fits you. But it fitted me perfectly, and the colors suited me. And I called it my model bonking shirt. I essentially went from a virgin to getting really hot girls, even models, thanks to this shirt, close to a virgin. So one time I got involved with some of the early pickup artists because we had similar goals. There was actually one or two really smart guys. And I remember I was in a bar in San Diego, and there was like a really attractive girl there. And I sort of walk up to her in my model bonking shirt, and she, because of my public speaking and sales background, I was probably dramatically better at reading signals than nearly the guy. And I could tell when I came up, she's like, oh, cool, this guy's going to talk to me. She's probably seen me talking to other girls. And I can't honestly remember what I said. I'm not going to make it up, but it was like, who lies more? It was one of the early pickup artist nonsensical things. And as soon as I said that, she just makes the most contemptuous face, waves her hand and just goes, I don't know if she said fuck off or something, but it was pretty close to it, just walked away disappointed. So yeah, that's the reaction you get from girls when you do so much of this stuff, much of which unfortunately has fallen deep into popular culture. I think we've covered that one. You want to move on to the next test?
Yeah, so...
I got it. So the next thing, okay, the most value we can deliver to you, apart from going on a date with Tess, or doing a boot camp or something, the most value we can deliver to you is to answer your personal questions, answer your sticking points. This is a really special one tonight because, you know, if you want to get better with women, obviously you got to dress well. The number one thing you got to do is improve your conversation skills. Everything else put together doesn't really matter if you don't improve your conversation skills. If you buy a Ferrari and a big house and whatever, you go see some of my clients and get a penis enhancement. Like a good friend of mine does quite a few of them, once with a 91-year-old for some reason, or 89-year-old. You can tick all the boxes, but if you can't connect with the girl, you're gone. So yeah, this is in some ways the most important stuff we do. So yeah, why aren't you talking to women? What's happening when you do? What are your fears? Tell us some stories about a time you got blown out or the girl was liking you, or when did you go on a date with the girl who you were crazy about? If you're anything like me, you're going to bed thinking about this girl for like 6 months or a year, then you finally get the date with her and it's going really well at the start, and then she just gets disappointed and disappears. Ask your questions about these, because that's what Tess and I enjoy. And it's where we give you the most value. I can look at the YouTube graph. So often the biggest kick up is, when one of us tells a story, and especially when we tell a story and reply to one of your questions. So yeah, start of January, it's 2026. Let's make 2026 the best year of your life. Ask us some more questions. Anyway, that's my question rant. Feelings and emotions. Men solve problems. We're logical. We set a goal. We go after it. That's what we're good at. Women are much more social and loving, and they're raising kids. They can read things, I say 100, I'm not exaggerating that much, 10, 20 times better than men. They're very emotional. Look at the art made for men. It's like thick plots and action and fights and stuff. Look at the art made for women. It's romantic comedies with emotions. And if you look at soap operas, a lot of them are just women's games, manipulation. We're completely different. And most men deal with women like they're men and then complain they're not getting very far, or they date very toxic women. Tess, I'll hand over to you about how women are very different to men and the mistakes, particularly in your coaching, where I actually wrote it down. Okay.
So
Monique, a model I employ who did Fashion Week in New York and a few tours of Europe. She's learning to ride a bike as an adult, and this guy goes, "Oh, you learned to ride a bike? That's cool. So what's the diameter of your front wheel?" And yes, he was a programmer or an engineer from memory, maybe a software engineer. And anyway, he may have been a little bit on the spectrum. I'm just making this up. He may have been that way inclined. But a lot of normal guys do this. Whereas Tess goes, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" "I'm surfing." "How big is your surfboard?" Not the world's greatest question. Why not? Tell me what you love about surfing. Tell me what got you into surfing. I'll hand over to you. You get this crap all the time on your Zoom coaching. So let's.
Yeah, exactly. The majority of the guys we coach are like engineers, work in IT, just highly analytical professions. So it is the way you think, but also the way you're trained in your profession. So I don't blame you guys. It's just about learning new habits. But if you think about the way that women converse with each other, if you see a group of women or two women talking to each other, pretty much 90% of what we're talking about is feelings and emotions and relationships, relationship dynamics. And different social dynamics, that sort of thing, like telling stories about our feelings and emotions, our opinions about different things that have happened to us. So what we're trying to teach you is to tap into that a little bit, how we think and how we like to communicate, to get us to open up to you. And oftentimes when you're asking your really highly analytical, very specific facts and data type questions, what you're doing is you're really narrowing down the conversation, and it gets to a dead end. And that's when you're like, "Oh shit, I've got nothing else to talk about." I don't know how to converse. But it only takes a few good feelings and emotions, open-ended questions. It's really going to get the woman talking. Sometimes she won't shut up, which is great, because that means you're getting all of this bonus information. And she might tell you this long story where you pick up all of this, bonus pieces of information that make it so much easier for you to continue the conversation. All you have to do is, pick up one little avenue to go down, or just go deeper into what she's talking about, and the conversation keeps on flourishing. And she loves it as well. So yeah, feelings and emotions questions. These are gold. We really want to avoid the facts and data, and closed-ended questions.
We had a guy request some sort of demonstration. So I don't know if anyone wants coaching on YouTube, just reply. If any of our regulars want that, we might do that. So that's a good way. I've got to remember what the title is. How to make small talk so fun it's hard to end the conversation for men over 40. That might be a way. I'll have to think about whether we do that or not, but just let us know if you're interested in that. We might even do a separate one where we coach people. Let me think. Okay, so maybe just say surfing, so we're very efficient for time. Let's say I see Tess at a bar on a Friday night. It's an after work bar. She's not drunk. She's well dressed. She could be some sort of professional woman. It's a more upmarket bar. There's no big screen with rugby league or American football playing. So I just walk up and it's like, hey, how you doing? I'm James. What's your name?
Hey, James. I'm Tess.
Nice to meet you, Tess. So Tess, tell me, what are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Looks like there's some swell coming, so I'm probably going to be in the water. I'm a surfer, so yeah, hoping to get some surfs in.
Cool. Tell me what's your favorite beach to surf at?
Probably just my local.
Oh, okay. What's your local beach called?
It's just one of the Sydney beaches. Manly. Have you heard of Manly? That's pretty close to me.
Yeah. And how big are the waves there?
Depends on the conditions. It changes.
Oh, okay. Well, what's the biggest you've seen?
The biggest? I don't know, like 15 feet or something. Really big, really big.
Wow, that's big. She would have told me to F off by now. Oh, okay. So, and how long have you been surfing for?
I don't know, like 8 years, something like that.
And finally, how tall is your surfboard?
Like 5'9".
This is what girls have to go through over and over and over again. This is what Tessa's coaching calls look like the first few times we do it. This is what happens. Because I'm a dating coach. If I'm in a cafe or a bus and there's people on a date, I'm just like eavesdropping going, you're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot, man. You're an idiot. You're a fool. How do you expect the girl to be into you talking like that? It's insane how bad it is. So anyway, that was me being stupid. Let's do this again. Same setup. Hey, how you doing? I'm James. What's your name?
Hey, I'm Tess.
Tess, nice to meet you, Tess. So Tess, what you most looking forward to this weekend?
Planning on getting a surf in. It looks like conditions should be good. So yeah, hopefully going surfing.
Surfing. I've done a bit of surfing in my life. A lot of fun being in nature. So tell me, what's your favorite thing about surfing?
It's just fun. It's for me, it's just it's just I love being in the water. It's an exhilarating feeling standing up on a wave. So it's easy to get hooked.
Yeah, it certainly is a bit of a drug. So tell me about the first time you ever stood up on a wave properly and rode it. What was that like for you?
Yeah, in hindsight, it was like a terrible wave, but yeah, the first time I stood up without falling off, it's just after weeks and months of perseverance trying to get to that stage, it was yeah, it was yeah, I was just elated. It was a really good feeling. And yeah, like I said, it's you get your first couple of waves and you're just hooked. It's yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wow, yeah, it is so much fun. So tell me about the greatest day of surfing in your life.
Greatest day of surfing in my life, probably probably in the Philippines. I was on a surf trip over there, one of the islands, and
Anyway, I could go on forever. If you book a Zoom call with Tess, if you can just ask good questions, it's the biggest single thing. It's the biggest single thing. Oh, I don't drive a Ferrari, or my car's not German, or my penis isn't big enough, or I've got some grey hairs. Just ask good questions. You've no idea how powerful it is. You've no idea how powerful it is. Some girl just yesterday, she gave me her phone number. She's offered up her phone number to me. I might tell you that story a bit later. Just ask good questions. Ask good questions. Ask fucking good questions. We can give you a whole heap of them and a structure, and it's so easy. If anyone wants to push back about that demonstration, now what would happen in the real world is Tess would have never been so nice to me the first time, hot girl in the bar. The second time is just what I've done and my clients have done so many times. So who thought that was somewhat valuable? Okay, the problem with social coach James' test method is that guys watch it and they go, that's really boring. That's really boring. The greatest woman I've ever met in an English-speaking country, I met on a boot camp, and I walked up and talked to her. And yeah, it was like one of the prettiest faces I've ever seen in my life, and she was 5'11" and a former model. And there were two clients eavesdropping in a bookstore, and they both went away in 3 minutes and went and did approaches. I'm like, I should have charged you $100,000 for that demonstration. The hottest girl I'd seen that 6 months, who was an angel who I dated for a long time when I was in her city, and the guys weren't interested in listening, so it was just boring. He's just asking her about books. Well, when are you going to stop talking about books? It's so boring. Yeah, because picking up a girl to someone watching should be boring. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. But, if you put boring infield video up on YouTube, you're not going to get many views and you won't be very famous. So, Tess, just talk more about how important delving into a girl's feelings and emotions is, and talk about how when you actually connect with a guy, you might want to start off with your celebrity bonk. You wouldn't date him if he didn't surf anecdote. Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys saw in that demonstration, when James was asking those engaging feelings and emotions questions, I was telling stories, and I was actually enjoying the conversation. I was actually smiling. It was bringing me back to those memories of catching my first wave, or like the best day of surfing in my life. I'm like thinking back to this holiday in the Philippines, which was incredible, So, yeah, you're getting me feeling good about talking about what we're talking about and opening up to you. And that's going to make me think, okay, wow, I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm enjoying this interaction with this guy, and I'm not trying to run away. I actually want to talk to him. Okay. In the first scenario where he's just asking me all these facts and data questions about, surf, wave sizes and my board size, etc. It's like, yeah, okay, like I'm nice enough. I'll give him the answer, but I wasn't getting invested in what we're talking about, and I wasn't getting excited. I'm kind of just like rattling off this information, and then it just went nowhere. He got to a dead end at the end because he ran out of questions to ask. So, yeah, this is, if you can get a woman talking about something she's passionate about and tapping into her feelings and emotions around that, what you're doing is you're unlocking her heart's secrets. You're getting her to open up to you straight away, and that's where you form real connection, right? Or she's going to feel like there's connection. So yeah, guys, this is really gold. Yeah, you know, I think someone else is saying here, Jeff Mack, I want to hear the rest of the Philippines surf story. See, so you can see, like, I was getting excited. It sounded interesting. It's actually exciting for you guys as well when you see a woman being invested in the conversation. Then it's more likely that you'll actually be enjoying that as well. It doesn't get awkward. So, yeah. What else did you want me to go into there, James, specifically?
That was good. And don't, in this case, what she said was gold. Did you, anyone watching a replay might want to go back. Look how much her face lit up when she was talking about that holiday in the Philippines and how much she enjoyed it. That's all the proof you need. Yes, she's working, she gets paid for this job. But anyone who's got the slightest ability to read body language, you go, she was enjoying it so much. She used that like supermodel smile on us a few times, just thinking about that holiday. So yeah, it's hard to talk about. It's just find out what makes her heart sing, get her talking about it, listen well, and touch her a bit. And before you know it, she's fucking your dick. It really is that simple. It really is that simple. Just to give you some real life examples. I've been coaching boot camps for 19 years, 20 pretty much, 2006 to 2006, but I haven't reached November yet. It's my 20-year anniversary of being a dating coach. And I've only got 6,000 YouTube subscribers. So please like, subscribe, and ring the bell and tell all your friends about me. And we think this is the best stuff there is, but no one cares. Apart from you, whatever it is, 30 people who are on now and the replay guys. So yeah, literally no bullshit. Go onto my YouTube channel. Look at the videos. There's a girl called Nevena who was one of Australia's biggest swimsuit models. I think she's got 100,000 Insta subscribers. There's a girl called Jackie who's a lingerie model, and she's a lot of stuff for that bra label, bras and things that makes bras for big boobs. Yeah, I've made both of them cry. Yes, cry, like sobbing, crying in front of whatever it's 15, 18 students and 7 or 8 female coaches on a boot camp. So imagine you're on a stage with someone, you're talking, you're doing a demonstration similar to what Tess and I did then, a lot more detailed than this, and they literally start crying. Now, I'm not going to tell you this, 6 years ago or something. I'm not going to remember the exact questions, but it was probably something with Nevin. It was like, oh, so tell me, why do you miss your hometown village so much? She comes from a little small place in Croatia. It's pretty much a village. It's not third world, but it's approaching it. But she loves it so much more than Sydney, and that's where her heart is, even though she's like a B, C grade celebrity where she gets invited to all these things and the red carpet treatment as a sort of a swimsuit model. And she's dated some pretty prominent athletes. And then the follow-on question might have been, oh, so tell me why people are so much happier in your little village and town, despite the fact a lot of them are pretty poor. So I'm just asking questions like this. She ends up fucking crying. Could you imagine crying in front of 30 people, 8 women you have to work with every boot camp? Yeah, so that's the power of these questions. And just quietly, boys, if you can get a girl that emotional about what makes her heart sing, you don't need some mad pickup game to get her into bed. I can assure you of that. Find out what makes her heart sing and get her talking about it, and learn a bit of touch and escalation. It's just easy. It's just effortless. So Monique, another girl you can see on the YouTube channel, she's a redhead who literally she got invited to New York Fashion Week, which is like, it's not being on the cover of Swimsuit, Sports Illustrated or Victoria's Secret, but it's a huge accomplishment. Mind you, now they put extremely fat people on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Model, so I don't know if it's what it used to be. But yeah, she said, and this is close to verbatim, my dream, my biggest wish in life is to go on a date with some guy in Sydney and have it feel like I have the conversations like I do with 15 different guys every boot camp. Because guys are asking questions about her, what's special to her. Tess, do you want to follow on from that?
Yeah, yeah, guys. So what James is saying is he's really touched her in a way, like he's unlocked her emotions, right? So she's opened up about her childhood, you know, something that's really special for her. And what this does as well is it makes the conversation really memorable to her. It's special. It's not just like the superficial, like, oh yeah, what do you do for work? Oh yeah, and yeah, how's your day been? You know, boring shit that you just, you know, talk, you know, the kind of conversation you have with your Uber driver or something like that. You're actually talking about meaningful things to her. She's opening up to you about things she might not have shared with anybody else, not anyone else recently anyway. And that makes her feel like, wow, I had connection with this person. I shared something that I don't usually share with other people. You know, he was interested in that deeper level. You know, we weren't just skimming the surface. So yeah, it also sends that message to the woman that I'm really engaging with you and I want to know more. I want to know what's behind, what's deeper, right? So yeah, that paired with some escalation, skillful touch, etc., equals chemistry. She's like, wow, I had real chemistry with this guy. So connection and yeah, sexual escalation touch equals chemistry. That is what you want.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you won't believe me. You'll be very skeptical, thinking you've got to be entertaining, or you've got to be funny, or you've got to be something. The number of girls, like models, I've got to sleep with, simply because I just sat there and went, "Oh, wow, that's interesting. Oh, wow, you really got a close relationship with your mum. Oh, tell me more about why your mum's so remarkable. Tell me more about your mum's PhD." And I've ended up in bed with them. Like, yeah, it's just yeah, find out what makes her heart sing and get her talking about it. Find out what makes her heart sing and get her talking about it. I think we might do you want to do the questions, because we really want to encourage that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jared's got a good one. How do we put that in the blokes too hopped up on cocaine for ready at a webinar at 7 p.m. Sorry about that. I just changed the opening at the last minute. None of that white powder. I'm much more of a mushroom ayahuasca man myself. I like the stuff that God gives us, not stuff that comes from a lab.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for assuming that James is one of the most high energy people I know. But no, yeah, I don't think there's any of the white powder involved. Yeah, apologies, we were a few minutes late tonight. Sorry to keep you waiting, Jared.
My fault as usual.
And Ralph says, "Hi Tess, can't believe you're not in your 20s anymore." Thank you, that's very flattering. I'm not.
She's definitely not. She's well into her 30s. Believe it or not.
Let's say mid-30s. I won't put a specific number on it. Let's see here. Ralph says, "Yesterday I was in a supermarket standing in line with a woman. We flirted a bit. I gave her my number before I went home. In the evening, she sent me a message. We'll have coffee together next week." Great. That sounds like a success story, Ralph. Ralph, you've been coming to these for a little while now, so hopefully you've been picking up on some stuff and using that, and that helped you with this. Sounds like, yeah, success. Any questions, guys, or comments about the points we've been talking about today? Just a reminder, the number 1 point was no teasing, cold reads, forced banter, or pickup artist bullshit, no pickup lines. And the number 2 point was ask feelings and emotions questions. We've got a couple of other comments here. Let's have a look. Here we go. Peter says, "I think talking about emotions is boring. Does that mean I'm doomed?" Potentially. So I wonder, why is that? Why do you not enjoy emotions? Is that maybe it's just that you're not used to it? But I guarantee you, once you ask a few good questions and you see that the woman's really enjoying herself and showing positive signals that she actually wants to be talking to you, you will enjoy it. You will enjoy that. So yeah, it's quite obvious once you start doing this stuff that it does really work.
I might just touch on that. This is why your questions are so important to us. I've titled that Ask Feelings and Emotion Questions or something. You guys might not completely understand what I'm talking about. When I say feelings and emotions questions, I partially mean, oh, so how long is your surfboard? How long have you been surfing for? Tell me what you love about surfing. Tell me your favorite thing about surfing. Tell me your scariest day surfing. Yeah, to tell you the truth, a fair bit of the value we provide people is they can just spit these questions off the top of their head about any subject. If anyone wants to put something in the chat and give me a subject to just come up with a bunch of questions about, yeah, because of whatever amount of girls I've dated, slept with, and I've been coaching this, I can just machine gun come up with good questions, and that gives me an almost stupendously stupid advantage over anyone else. And so can our clients. It's like being 7'1" and playing your local basketball league and athletic too. It's just people just can't compete, because as soon as you get into a girl's emotions, her pants are basically flying off in so many cases. Okie dokie. Next question or comment? Oh, so just in direct answer to your question, Peter, no, you just got to ask better questions about the subjects that you're interested in. This will probably become a two-parter, because it's a huge chunk to do in one, and we want to get as many questions as possible. Everything we're giving you is insanely valuable. Yeah, when we do the Zoom calls and we take guys who are just ranked beginners, hopeless, terrible, a lot of bad ideas, what I'm dealing with and Tessa's dealing with in this one and maybe another one is just the common mistakes that guys are making. If you don't get conversation right, you're doomed. If you don't get small talk right, you're doomed. If you're tall, rich and handsome with a big black dick and the jet and or whatever else, and the abs and the whatever, then you might get some toxic user girl. You might get an attractive girl who gets sick of you, then turns toxic. But you got to have the connection. You got to have the small talk. And how you get the girls you want is small talk. For anyone who's skimming through YouTube looking for something interesting, I told a story about how I was really good at public speaking. Certainly been able to make money out of it, but terrible at small talk. It's just like, how does these two things coexist? Small talk is a skill you just got to learn. That's basically a huge part of what we do for people. Next comment.
Just so Jeff says, Tess, have you ever been chased by a stingray? I don't know. I'm just no, I haven't. I don't know why. That's a bit of a random question. No, I haven't. Closed-ended question, so I won't go into it. Let's move on.
He may have been being funny. I'm not sure.
Jordan, yeah. Jordan says, I remember attending one of James's live workshops back in the day, and I can personally confirm that James's conversation techniques actually work. I think it's a matter of connecting to the girl's heart. Absolutely, that's exactly what we've been saying. And thank you, Jordan, for backing us up on that. This stuff works for you as well.
Open-ended questions open beautiful woman's legs. Open-ended questions open beautiful woman's legs. Remember that.
Stavros says, what should I start to say at singles events or any pub or bay live events? So yeah, singles events or approaching at pubs or live events. What should I say to start the conversation? Yeah, so you're describing like implied.
Can we come back? That's a great question. Can we come back to the next point? Because I'm going to handle that in detail there. Don't go away for a few seconds, Stavros. Great question. Both of you remind me to come back to it.
Simon, what was the first point from the start of the video? We just did go through that. It was, I'll put it up on screen for you really quickly. No teasing, cold reads, forced banter, or pickup artist bullshit. You know, none of that. Weird forced pickup artist pickup lines, which are just cheesy and make women cringe. Let's go back to the comments. Voice says DMC, deep, meaningful conversation. But that wasn't deep, but could see progression. Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, deep, meaningful conversation is ideal, but obviously there's a time and a place for that as well. Like when you first meet a woman who asks a question that's too deep straight off the bat, that could also cause her to have a bit of a barrier up. You know, you do have to do a bit of like rapport building initially. So yeah, your questions might not be super deep straight away, but feelings and emotions doesn't have to be super deep. It can just be like, oh, yeah, what do you love about surfing? What was it like the first time you caught a big wave or something like that? James, did you want to comment?
No, that's great. Yeah, deep and meaningful. Deep and meaningful can be misinterpreted somehow as sort of nice guy beta male in a relationship, listening to all her problems, listening to everything that happens to her at work that's a bit distressing. You don't want to be that guy, but you want to connect with her about what really matters in life, not the day-to-day minutiae. And yeah, I mean, so many successful guys get home and their wife just dumps on them. The beautician screwed up my Brazilian waxing, and can I get your lawyer to sue her? And yeah, the gardener screwed up my roses. I've told him many times, and Jesse's being a bitch again, and the poor guy's been working 12 hours a day, giving her this great life. She just comes home and dumps nonsense on him. So yeah, you don't want to be that guy, but you want to really connect with what's special and important to her. You don't need to listen to her vent like a crazy man. That's definitely what we're talking about here. Next one, Tess.
Yeah, Jordan says, yeah, like figuring out what conversation theme makes her eyes shine brighter and you also care about, that conversation could go on and on. Yeah, agreed. So yeah, it's about finding out what she wants to talk about, what she cares about, and what you also care about. Exactly. So something she's passionate about, but you also care about. That's the ticket to win-win. You're both enjoying the conversation, and it goes on and on.
That's like 90% of the game. I'm just going to do 1 minute, Tess.
Yeah, sure. Let's go here. Voice 1000 says women bond on experiences, men on activities. Exactly. So you can see the difference here. If you think of experiences as opposed versus activities, experiences is more about feelings. Yeah, like how you felt around something, an activity or something you've done. Activities is more about a bit more superficial, like what the activity itself, right? So it's just showing you the different way that men and women how we bond. I do agree to an extent. Experiences versus activities. Let's have a look. James, there was a question here for you. James, have you ever found women to be guarded due to the deeper questions?
Yes, well done, Noel. That's an excellent question. That's why it's going to be answered the next point. There's a structure to it. You don't start by going, tell me about when you got your heart broken the most, or tell me about the person you've loved in your life. You don't start with those full-on questions. You start with what you've got planned for the weekend. You start with tell me about the best thing you got planned for the weekend. You start with very low-level questions, and then you move up. I'm going to cover that in my next point, which hopefully will be super valuable to you. Anyone who does want to get an experience of working with Tess, it costs $29. I put a link in the chat. If you went to our website and booked it, it costs you $1,500. There's probably spots, maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. I'm not sure. You'll have to look at the link. Next question, then we'll get to the next point.
I think that's it for the questions. So we'll get to the next point. What is that? Number 3 is, here we go. Don't wing it. proven structure is a must. Is that it, James?
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of guys think, getting better with women is just something you're born with, or you just got to be tall and handsome and have a great jawline and nice abs. Basically, it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Yeah, being tall and handsome and having money is going to be a big advantage. But if you can't do the basic stuff right, it can often do more damage than good. So yesterday I was doing a bit of a run, and I'm big on pushing myself to the limit, then resting. I think that's a much better way to live for a long time. Keep your heart rate lower. So I was doing some sprints, and then there was a girl who came to the beach and started getting changed on the beach. Obviously, I was showing her boobs. But anyway, she stood up to sort of do this and that, and I realized, well, that is quite a set of boobs, a top, very long, thin legs, and a pretty nice tip to waist ratio. So I think, I might go over a bit of a yak to her. So I do my runs, then I intentionally swing back a certain way, and everyone's like, what was your opener? What was your opener? What was your opener? What did you open her with? That's the usual pickup artist thing. Can anyone guess what my opener was? Hi. So I don't know if I'm going to replicate this perfectly, but I basically just I walked up, and it's a person and a person, and the girls on the beach in a bikini, and I was dressed really badly, like shockingly badly. You can't even believe. But we won't get into that right now. And I was dramatically older than her, like potentially as much as 30 years. So I just walk up, and I've got like one of the worst smiles on earth. I've got this tiny little mouth and these teeth that are all worn down from years of stressful and abusive childhood and a finance career and a bunch of other shit. So yeah, I used my world's most pathetic, ugly smile on her, and it was good enough. It worked. I smiled, and she sort of held my eye contact. And I said, hi. And she kept looking at me, reading signals, boys, if she'd gone, fuck off, old weird man doing stupid sprints behind me. If she'd done that, I might not have said it. So what was my opening line? Hi, followed by, how are you going? That's a ripper, that one. I could make a lot of money selling the opening line, how are you going? And then she sort of goes, good, like, where's this going? This is getting a bit awkward. So as soon as I got good, and she didn't go away, old man. As soon as I got that, I knew she had some interest in me. Okay, Tess, you might need to interject here. Hot girls, at least prior to the Harvey Weinstein thing where they're so desperate now, they don't ever look at you, especially if they're on the beach in a bikini. They don't look at you. They don't want to get any attention. It's like, no, man, predator, annoying, 5 minutes of my life wasted, potential rape, biologically, historically. They don't look at you unless they're interested. Get that through your thick head. Women don't rub boobs against you unless they're interested, unless you're in a mosh pit. Even then, it's probably somewhat contrived. So there's all this shit that men just don't understand. Women don't hold eye contact with men unless there's something going on, or he's got a big booger on the nose, or maybe he reminds of someone they know. So yeah, she held my eye contact for long enough. So Tess, just talk about how, particularly if you're dressed in any way quite sexy, if you think back to your modeling days, early 20s, super hot girl, long legs, crazy fit, angel smile, thick hair, walking around, maybe dressed to go out. You don't look at guys ever. Just explain this to guys.
No. I think, the thing is, like, women can feel quite vulnerable, like, especially, what James was saying, if you're dressed up and you're a little bit, you're already drawing attention, or if you're sunbaking on the beach, you're in a bikini, you're literally like half naked. You do not want to be making eye contact with guys and giving them the wrong impression, because so we just generally don't look at guys unless we do like them and we actually do want their attention. It's like I said, we can feel a bit vulnerable when we're dressed up, or if we're not wearing, we've got a lot of skin showing, etc. Sometimes we'll at the beach, it's a little bit different, where we may be there just to enjoy the beach and enjoy the sun, and want no attention whatsoever. When we've gotten dressed up and we might be a little bit, wearing something a bit revealing or a bit sexy, or yes, we do want attention, but we don't want the wrong attention. So, and we know that we probably will be getting attention in general anyway. So, yeah, we're very conscious of that. We know when people are looking at us. We know, yeah, we're intentional about who we look at as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Tess. So yeah, if a woman's looking at you in many situations, particularly if she's attractive, the Harvey Weinstein thing where so many men have just checked out completely, that's changed that a little bit. I've had panels of models who I let my clients ask questions to about in-depth parts of their sex life and their dating life and everything. I've had them say, yeah, we just don't look at guys unless we want something from them. So yeah, anyway, back to my story. I'm running on the beach. There's a hot girl there, great body, huge, firm boobies. I'll have a crack at that. So I walk in a way where I'm going to walk near her, and my opening line is just looking at her in the eyes, and then she looks at me and she holds my eye contact for long enough where I go, hi. As soon as I got her eye contact for a second, I went, hi. That was like me throwing out a test to see if she'd talk to me. She continued to hold my eye contact. And then my opening line was, how you going? And she went, good. And then from there, I just pivoted into, oh, cool. So what's been the highlight of your week? So she talks about how, I can't remember exactly what she said, to be honest. She talked about how she'd been here for a while and then she's off to Tasmania in Australia very soon. I said, oh, cool. I'm an Australian. Tell me what takes you to Tasmania. And then I got quite a bit about Tasmania. And then I can't remember exactly, I didn't film it or anything. And then the follow-on question after Tasmania was obviously, so what attracts you to Tasmania? And then from there, from Tasmania, we found out she was a bit of a hippie to put it mildly. And yeah, she'd just come from this. I found out all about her travels around Southeast Asia and how she was exhausted from traveling. I talked about how she was going to live in some sort of hippie retreat, sort of a bit off-grid in Costa Rica. Talked about how she left America, in part blamed the orange man, Mr. Trump. I found out all this stuff that she knew nothing about me, nothing whatsoever. And I'm clearly way older than her. And I was so badly dressed, it wasn't funny. Just weird old guy who's probably a bit fat now because he's in a wheelchair. But anyway, as soon as I started talking about the hippie retreat, and I don't really look like a hippie, but I'm hardcore hippie. I go, I'm as hardcore hippie as they go. The first thing I said about myself is, I'm as much of a hippie as we go. I've done a bunch of Vipassanas, 6 months in India. And just so as soon as I said I was a hippie, she went, oh, okay, he's much older than me. He seems pretty confident, but he's sort of like me. And that's when it got easy. She asked for my phone number. Repeat, she asked for my phone number. And she texted me straight away. So I might as well finish the story off. But I eventually, I didn't stand over her for too long. I eventually took a knee and then sat down beside her. There's a huge amount of skill in what I did in terms of physical distance, particularly when I'm dressed up in shoes, sprinting, and she's in this tiny little bikini. So there was a lot of skill in reading signals and body language that I was doing to make this work. But the core thing is the actual structure, the actual lines I was using is just, how are you going? And then from there. And I noticed she was a hippie. I noticed that the bottom of her legs weren't shaved. It was, you could barely see the hairs. And then she sort of went back like this and leaned back, and those big boobs didn't drop too much into the armpits. But unfortunately, the armpits revealed some armpit hair. And I'd had another very, very attractive hippie girl who was only 22, who I got her back, and I was really looking forward to this experience. And then as soon as they give it that one, it doesn't matter how good the boobs are. When you're seeing a lot of armpit hair on a girl, no matter how much the rest of the stuff is, it fucks with your willy a bit. It really screws with your willy. And I didn't actually manage to complete this beautiful little 22-year-old because, he wasn't playing ball with the hairy armpits. At all. And she was really nervous because of our differences. So sorry to be sexist. I think women should probably shave their armpits. Legs would be preferable as well. Sorry, I'm going to be cancelled for being a monster or something in 2026. But
everyone's allowed to have their preferences. It's fine, James. You can be honest about your preferences. Not everyone has those preferences. Some guys like hair. That's fine too. It's totally fine.
I mean, has anyone ever done doggy with a girl who hasn't shaved her armpit hairs or gone back door? That's just too weird for me to consider as a maniacally straight white male who grew up in Perth. And I've had friends who are gay before, but I can't tell you I took her home last night and did the business, or I have got a date with her tonight because I just busy guy. I just wasn't going through that armpit hair rigmarole again. And she had a bit too. She was like maybe a Greek hippie girl who had a bit more arm hair than you'd usually expect on a hippie girl. I have had one or two and managed to cope. But yeah, my last experience was somewhat traumatic. I couldn't. I wanted to follow through. Sort of part of me wanted to, but at my age, he just wasn't playing ball. I've had enough wonderful little sort of rolls in the hay with different women and I knew I wasn't going to do it 2 times. So once would have been the conquest. I just can't deal with that again unless she has a good shave. Can you borrow my razor for a second? Anyway, sorry about my different prejudices, but who here in the chat is a big fan of armpit hair? All those in favour raise their hand, or at least put a little armpit hair aficionado into the chat. And if armpit hair really doesn't do it for you and potentially might cause some issues in the erectile department, put no thank you to armpit hair or armpit hair. Ew. Anyway, so that gives you an idea. Now, let's get serious about what's going on here. So the thing is, I had a structure. That I was following that has got me rolled in the hay with some very, very attractive girls from incredibly low-key approaches. What was the line? Goth or something. I didn't go up and, I'm feeling this goth vibe. I'm feeling this goth. I was there when he did this. It was really sad because I really liked the guy. And I was like, what are you doing? You didn't walk up and be a weirdo. It was just human interaction. Eye contact. No, looking at her for a short time. As soon as I got some eye contact, smile, hi, how are you going? And then I can't remember what I said. It was just like, what's been the holiday week or something? And then from there, we got that she's going to Tasmania soon. And then I got onto the hippie thing. Once I got into Tasmania, I was sort of okay. Once I got into the hippie thing, it was set. I mean, I could have stayed there and talked to her all day, but I didn't have sun cream on. And when you have a big nose like this, it's a much more acute angle to the sun than a regular nose. So I've had lots of instances where I don't get burnt at all, but this nose just fries. So if anyone's a young entrepreneur on the call, if you can make caps for people with big noses, I think there's a big market. We need a bit more space. I've got a cap to demonstrate. We need a bit more space at the end of the brim. Anyway, people are probably signing off in droves. But yeah, you want it a bit longer there so that you don't get the large nose thing. I think there's good markets in that and being caps for big nose people. Anyway, we'll get back to getting you guys laid in 2026. The structure was I start with the low-key intro, hi. And then I switch to like something you can ask people. Most people would go, how's your day going? Which is good, do that. But if I ask, how's your week going? That gives her a much greater expansive time to share something with me. Does that make sense? So I don't know what she said. I'm not going to make it up. But she gave me a little bit, and somehow the week thing led to Tasmania. She's off to Tasmania. And then, and then that made the conversation comfortable. And then as soon as we did our little hippie thing. Yeah, I leave my crystals out in a full moon to charge them. We didn't do that, but I've done that with other hippie girls that got me a bit of sex. So yeah, anyway, you get the point. So the thing you do if you book a session with Tess is she sees what you're doing now, and then she shoves our structure into you. And like, how many openers could we give guys? Tess, like 1,000? 100 easily, because it's just a 4-step formula, and you just completely doing it. It's like algorithm, just another permutation, another permutation, another permutation. It's like asking AI for a password. It just cranks out another one, another one, another one. And it's the same with the next step of the conversation. You've always got a formula that you apply to get you to the next step. So one of the comments we had before is you don't want to go too deep and meaningful early on. And it's like, I'm trying to give an example that would have worked yesterday. Anyway, it's missing me. If I'd gone, oh, so tell me how you think going to Tasmania will make your dreams come true, or tell me how your dream, hippie enclave in Costa Rica will make your dream. If I'd got really too emotional, she would have gone, no, you're an idiot. But if I did that sort of thing on a date, it might work. I mean, I often ask girls about what their deepest, darkest dreams are on dates, and it works really well. So, so there is a structure to follow. And basically the structure is you open, which is usually, so you repeat her name. So Tess, tell me, it's a command. It's not like, oh, anything good planned for the weekend? As an open-ended question. So Tess, tell me about the best thing, the most interesting thing, the most fun thing. You give it some sort of, to encourage something good that you've got planned, you're looking forward to in a specific period of time. So repeat name, it's a command. Some sort of word to get her to be emotional, not just anything happen, and then give her a time frame. This is all basic copywriting stuff that we're talking about. I may have crapped on for too long. Tess, give us your sorry. And then from there, then I just go into listening for bonus information on that question. And then trying to get something coming out of it. So it sounds really difficult and complicated, just me telling you, which is why, if you go, anyone watching the replay, if you go, don't keep watching, but yeah, the earlier demonstration will show you much of what I'm talking about. I should have probably said this and then done the demonstration, but I didn't have a crystal ball. So yeah, it's a simple structure you've got to follow. And what happens when you go into battle, and going after women in 2026 is kind of like going into battle. You've got a plan. You've got something in your back pocket. So even if you're a virgin or you just had a 15, 18-year divorce, the woman basically rams you backwards every night with some sort of an appliance to penetrate you and took all your masculinity away. Even if you're in that situation, if you've got a plan, if you've got a structure that you've practiced a few times, cold approaching women becomes easy. Cold approaching women becomes easy. So yeah, that was quite an advanced example where because it happened to me yesterday, where I managed to just use my opener as hi, how are you going? And then transition into something a bit more meaty, which was, how's your week going? That's a great tip I'm giving you. Don't ask how's your day going, ask how's your week going. And then from that, without going into the next step, I managed to get enough of what I need. So anyway, Tess, did you want to comment on that? And we've got to get back to the guys who asked me questions before. Tess, you comment, and we'll get back to the guys who I promised to help.
Yeah, guys. So so that opener, that formula for the opener that James gave, the structure around that, that James, I'll just go over that again. It's to use the woman's name, tell me about, so you're being assertive, tell me about the best thing or the most interesting thing or something you're looking forward to, or something you're looking forward to within a certain time frame, right? So that's the formula. Now, remember, the easiest ones to answer are things that are like relatable. So if it's a Friday night and you're at a bar, it's like, hey, Tess, what are you most looking forward to this weekend, right? Because she's probably looking forward to something that weekend. If it's a Monday, you might say, hey, Tess, so what was the highlight of last weekend for you? If it's around mid-January, you might say, oh, Tess, So, yeah, what was the highlight of the summer break for you? Or what's something you're really looking forward to, you know, this year? What's something you're working towards this year? So, yeah, think about something that actually makes sense to ask in that context as well. Whatever's easy to relate to, easy for the woman to answer, it's going to be, the conversation's just going to flow really smoothly. Yeah. But yeah, you're basically getting her to talk about, something she's looking forward to, or the highlight of a recent time for her. She's probably going to be talking about something she's going to enjoy talking about, if not one of her biggest passions or interests in life, which is great. It's a great place to be starting the conversation. Yeah.
That's great. So hopefully we're answering the small talk question. A lot of guys who've followed other dating coaches, particularly the infield videos they watch, the infield videos you watch on YouTube are entertainment. They're to get you laughing. They're to keep you watching. They're not to help you get a girlfriend. I know a lot of the dating coaches and a lot of the guys who did infield video. It's one of the great regrets of my life I didn't do some. So I've got some amazing stuff sort of talking to absurdly hot Dutch models that went really well. Like one guy who I looked at some of his videos, the ones where he was an idiot and a joker and did stupid shit, they got lots of views. The ones that were a bit closer to what Tess and I teach, where he might have actually got sex out of it, they were some of the lowest viewed infield videos on his channel. So you're not learning. From what I've seen, you're not learning much watching infield videos on YouTube. Intuitively, it sounds like it's really good, but the guys are maxing out for entertainment, not for your value. Just like Tess reads the first minute or two of the video, because we got to get that right. Boring infield video of you actually building a connection with the girl, touching her skillfully and trying to get her into bed or get her on a date. It's not very entertaining, I can assure you. What were the questions that we needed to go back to? There was a few. So Stavros, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, he asked for a structure. If you could put his thanks, Tess, you're a legend. What should I say at the start of a singles event or pub or but anyway, I don't. What should I say at the start of a singles event or a pub? There's only one. I say this from my boot camp. There's only one opening line you ever use at a pub. Don't use anything else. Hey, how you doing? I'm Stavros. In most cases, with a handshake, and then you look her in the eyes. You approach confidently. Hopefully, you read signals. And then I generally always start with something along the lines of the formula Tess just gave you. So name. Tell me, it's a command, not a request. It's not optional. She's got to reply. Tell me about the best thing, the most interesting thing, the most fun thing, the most enjoyable thing, the thing you're most looking forward to. You've got planned for this weekend, 2026. Don't use that period of time on a cold approach. You just use something this weekend, this week, last month. The easiest one would be, hey, it's a Friday night singles event or bar. So, girl, I met at a singles event. Tell me about the best thing you got planned for the weekend. This is where it gets a bit more difficult than much of what you see on YouTube that Tess and I probably think is complete nonsense. You actually need to listen. To make our method work, you got to get good at listening to women.
Sounds obvious, but it sounds obvious, but so many guys just don't. So yeah, listening.
Especially if she's hot, they get too nervous to start to listen properly. So you've got to actually listen. But there's people who go, I'm the natural dating coach. I'm the natural dating coach. I'm like, if that's the average guy who's read the game or follows David D'Angelo, and that's the naturals you see on YouTube, we're over here. We're like out the door somewhere in terms of natural, because there's nothing forced, there's nothing contrived. It's just natural, but it does take a little bit of practice. It's not like you get, who lies more, and you walk up and some dopey drunk girls, yeah, I think men lie more than women. Yeah. So yeah, as I said at the start, there's a lot of things you can do to get into the interaction, or maybe get a phone number that don't lead to dates, sex, and potentially a good girl. There's some certain things you can do that are quite established right now to attract, dare I say, quite toxic women, that will repel the women you want. That again is taught widely on the internet. So yeah, basically what we're telling you tonight, if you want to perfect that, I strongly recommend, I urge you to consider going on a date with this beautiful creature you can see in front of you. And you need to check Tessa's calendar. I think they've put the link in. And yeah, Tessa's the boss of a bunch of extremely attractive girls. And along with me, the leader of this huge community of guys who help each other get dramatically better with women. Tess, if I think you got to adjust the. You'll need to run away, Tess.
Oh, okay, sure.
No worries at all. It's not often I ask the pretty face to run away. It's just here. Oh no, we can do this one. Sorry, Tess, you can come back. Come back. Guys, will click off at the side of my big nose. So Tess is the boss of these girls and the best one. And that's what your tomorrow or Tuesday or whenever Tess is put in a calendar is going to look like. On a date with a beautiful girl, former model, expert dating coach. Please give us the like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Oh, this is a mistake. We'll get back to that in a second. So yeah, okay, sorry about this. Not a very good YouTuber, as you can see. So yeah, and what is going to happen is you'll do a couple of approaches. You'll role play a date with Tess, and then basically she wants to identify the mistakes you're making. She wants to give you a list of the mistakes you're making, anything you're doing wrong. She's going to give you in much more detail the conversation structure we're talking about now. You're going to get to practice it in a variety of situations, and we're going to pick up all the stuff that you can improve. She'll also tell you if you're doing anything right. And yeah, you'll practice it over and over again. You'll practice it on approaching. You practice it on dates. If you're really good, we might really go deep. And Tess will give you a bunch of openers. She'll give you a bunch of tips relative to you. The most important thing of all is you'll have a plan and a top 3 action items that you can take into 2026 to completely transform your life. $1,500 if you book through the website. You can see it there. I should put Tessa's photo there, not Natalia's, even though Natalia's great too. Yeah, we're not getting many YouTube views, but we're getting sales from them. So as soon as I start putting the shorts up with Tess and I, this business should really go crazy because we're getting 2 guys from America and 1 guy from South Africa fly from our last event. So not $14.95. It's not $1, it's $29 tomorrow. So yeah, just click on the link and we'll explain what you do once you click on the link. And yeah, for anyone watching the replay, my more successful friends tell me there'll be a link in the chat. Tess will get more reaction if she points than me. So yeah, February bootcamp's far too soon for anyone who's signing up now, but I think it's April 9 to 12 or something will be the next boot camp. And that's not relevant to you guys. So we'll get Tess back up in full color, Technicolor, and I will shut the hell up. Okay, cool. So yeah, next point we have, can you put up the next point for me?
Yes, that is AI. AI is dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you just gave me an idea. I'm going to call my health product. We'll do a health one because that's, if you want to get really good with women and you're over 40, over 50, you got to work on your health. And this is a good lead in to be careful with AI. As I was looking at preparing this tonight, I knew exactly what I was going to talk about, but just for interest's sake, I asked 3 AIs for their dating tips. And I'll get into that in a second, how terrible it was, like shocking. But then following that, just to have something to talk about, I asked the top health tips. it'd be an exaggeration to say it was nonsense, but it was so ignorant. It was basically nonsense what the AI told me. Top 10 things ranked 1 to 10, what I need to do with my health. Avoid processed food wasn't in the top 10. Wasn't in the top 10. Wasn't AI founded largely in America, certainly all the ones I use, and they didn't put processed food at number 1 or in the top 3. It's bananas. It's bananas. It didn't mention interval training. It didn't mention yoga, which is a miracle. It's a complete miracle. It didn't mention checking insulin sensitivity. It didn't mention fresh air. It didn't mention have a vibrant sex life. It didn't mention get comprehensive blood tests done, which arguably might be very close to number 1, and know exactly where you're deficient and get that fixed as soon as possible, preferably with whole foods, if not some sort of supplement, preferably a supplement derived from supplement. That would just wipe out pretty much nearly all disease. And it didn't say probably in the top 5, avoid as much man-made chemicals as you can. It was just a bunch of nonsense that you hear repeated over and over again, often by doctors who went to Stanford and got 0 minutes of nutrition and about 90 minutes of sleep. I think they did say sleep in defense to them. So much of where AI is now is it's just scouring the web, and it often gives preference to the most reputable websites. And so much of that is just nonsense. And I mean, health was bad. Dating was just diabolical, just absolutely diabolical. So we've got to keep the pretty girl on the screen and bring my slides back. I kind of screwed that one up. Sorry about how amateur a YouTuber I am, guys. Tess and I are not AI, as you can see by my technical foibles. Okay, so I'm going to need to blow this up so I can see it. Whoa, but there's a button hiding behind it. Okay, I don't know if I should even mention the AI that's probably going to die, and it'll be the MySpace of AI. Most of my clients are old enough to remember MySpace. The AI that's going to be the MySpace of AI. Its number 1 tip was what our number 1 thing not to do was tease, playful disagreement, light push pull. All of that pickup artist nonsense. Now, if you are really, really good with women and you can read their signals and you've slept with 40, 50 women that most guys would consider really attractive, and you've had serious relationships with 1 or 2 and you can read signals, a little bit of teasing can make things more fun, and it can potentially expedite, bring sex closer, or even bring attraction closer. But for the average guy watching YouTube, the average guy reading books, the average guy searching AI for help, it is criminally negligent. It is criminally negligent. Most of you guys watching are not able to read signals well enough in order to tease skillfully. Most of the time, it's going to go pear-shaped. One of the great comments that I repeat over and over again in my boot camps is from a tennis commentator. Never do more than you need to win the point. Never do more than you need to win the point. And if a guy who can't read signals, who's been in a 15-year marriage that was horrible, who's been single most of his life, or who's had toxic relationships, you probably don't have the ability to do teasing. So yeah, it can work sometimes, but it's just a complete disaster. And AI said that's the number 1. I asked it to prioritize 1 to 10. I had a bunch of comments from people who come regularly that me tearing apart AI was one of the most important things. Oh, I screwed up. We meant to have Mr. Tony Robbins. Yes, this guy who had a pretty positive impact on my life, to put it mildly. I was at one of his seminars, and he basically talked about the coaching industry that he gave birth to. He completely gave birth to it like a woman gives birth to a kid. It didn't really exist before him in any sort of scale. And yeah, I can't remember verbatim, he said, I've helped millions of people, countless celebrities, but I created the most toxic, clueless, destructive industry, whatever, of the decade or the century, which was the coaching industry. Now, there's some amazing coaches. Hopefully you're looking at two of them, but there's a lot of coaches who do a lot of damage, many of whom are really good at marketing, dramatically better than Tess and I. I can't even get my freaking slides right or rock up late. So yeah, so much of what you see in areas I know quite well, health and obviously dating and relationships and that sort of thing, plus a lot of business advice is really bad. You might push back. If you're really skilled at prompting AI, you can actually get some good stuff, maybe, but it also goes really pear-shaped on you as well. So you've got to be good at prompting AI, which is becoming less and less important, but you've also got to have some background knowledge so that you don't do really stupid stuff, which was slightly the case with health and majorly the case with dating. This is just taking Mystery Method, the game book, that TV show the mystery guy was in, David D'Angelo, mid-2000s, and basically regurgitating it as cutting-edge dating advice. So micro stories, 10 to 20 seconds. That's not too bad. But the thing is, you don't do that to build attraction. You do that to encourage the girl to get talking. And if you don't understand the difference, what pickup artists do is they tell all these little stories, thinking they're going to build attraction. And with any girl who's moderately attractive, they just look like a knob. I think it's a British term, a knob. You're a knob, old boy. Tess, can you talk about teasing and playful disagreement? It might work a little bit in a relationship or with a guy who's very, very confident you've already had sex with a few times. Talk about some total stranger doing it who's probably not that skilled with women.
Yeah, so yeah, trying to be use humor or be really playful straight away when you don't understand the woman's sense of humor, you don't understand each other's sense of humor, is super risky. And also disagreement being playfully disagreeing is one thing. Disagreement in itself is another. I mean, if you're trying to disagree with a woman to build rapport, it just doesn't make sense. Like, those things are pretty much the opposite. Playful disagreement, it's a bit more like, yeah, teasing, a bit of banter, but if she's not into that sort of thing, and also if you're just doing it in a really cheesy way, or it just makes you look like you're trying too hard, it doesn't make you look attractive. It makes you look like you're trying too hard. But trying to be funny when she might not find you funny. It's risky. Like, it could work, but it's just in an ideal scenario for you, it's not something that's going to blanket work with a lot of women. It's just maybe once you've built a base level of rapport and you kind of understand a little bit more what she finds funny, or if she starts to be a bit playful or bring in some banter stuff, then great. That's a good indication that she kind of might respond well to that. But I would never do that as something on your initial approach or in the very early rapport building stage.
Especially with an attractive girl, because it can go so completely wrong. Plus there's Harvey Weinstein era. If you're any sort of a guy, there's always a chance that it could be taken out of context or even exaggerated or even reported truly. That could get you in quite a bit of trouble. Because the way women deal with men approaching them now is very different to 2017. Most women are still the same, but there's a small percentage of women who've gone a bit woke on us, especially if they've got like some color in their hair. Blue seems to be a particularly bad color for a woman to have in their hair, from what I understand. Okay, micro stories. If they put more context around that, you don't do it to build attraction. The goal is to find out what she wants to talk about, not try to get her talking about what you want to talk about. I think they call that mansplaining or something these days. If there's any word I never heard of 5 years ago that's now being used a lot, I'm a wee bit suspicious. Curiosity hooks, open. That reminds me of, no, you're trying to lead the conversation the way you want it to go. What you want to do is find out what makes her heart sing. That is the quickest path to her phone number, a date with her, getting her back to your place, her panties coming off, which is always fun for us boys, as long as she doesn't have hairy armpits. And yeah, a good relationship, connecting over similar interests, smart follow-up questions, not interview mode. That's good, but you shouldn't be pushing the conversation the way you want to do it if the conversation's going good. Because yeah, the quicker you find out what makes her heart sing, the quicker you get her talking about that stuff that you're really into. If I was trying to succeed with Tess, as soon as I found out about surfing, I'd talk about a bit about that a lot. As soon as I found out this hot girl former model paraglides, I'd be riding, it'd be like the clit. I'd just keep pushing that button, because I've dated a girl who was a pilot before, and yeah, that's like a huge attraction point for me. So what she's really into, something I'm really attracted to and potentially into. I've seen the numbers on it. It's pretty scary in terms of how dangerous it is, but I still want to do it at some point. That would be a huge attraction point for me. So I just keep her talking about paragliding the whole time. Mini opinion drops, give or take, then get theirs. I think this is really, really amateur. For a complete loser guy, it might help. Callback humor, that's kind of sound. If she said something earlier, you can refer back to that. That's quite good. But I would have said callback anecdotes, not just humor. Tess, I might give you, I don't want to spend too much time on this in case it's unpopular. I might just give you, do you want to comment on any of these? So, and questions would be loved, because some of you guys might use this or disagree with us.
Yeah, no, I do agree with what you said, James. I mean, yeah, number one, yeah, I just disagree with that. Number two, micro stories. I think that that can be good, but it's not just about telling random micro stories. It's about, first doing what James said, getting her talking about something she really wants to talk about, something that makes her heart sing. And then if you can give micro stories about something that relates to something she's talking about, that's actually highlighting your a similarity and something you can connect around, keep it short, micro story, then yes, that's actually inviting her to engage back with you. So that's good. It's not just, random micro stories. Curiosity hooks, like that reminds me of blah, blah, blah. Again, I agree with James, what James said. It's taking you off track, away from what she actually wants to talk to. The smart follow-up questions are good. That's just about going deeper. And
Sorry to interrupt, Tess, but that assumes you're not leading it in a direction you want to go, not her.
Exactly. Go deeper about what she wants to talk about. Exactly. Yeah.
That you're also interested in.
Exactly, and that you're interested in. Exactly. But yeah, really engaging feelings and emotions questions, open-ended questions, like what we've been talking about. Mini opinion drops. No, give or take, then invite theirs. No, I wouldn't just give your opinion or make an assumption about something that she's talking about. Unless you've invited her to open up and give her opinion first, then you might say, or you might keep it really, really brief. But I would avoid being too opinionated too early, because it just seems like you're being really analytical, making judgments of her, etc., which is not how you build rapport and connection. You might do that, might be slightly appropriate down the track, but don't do that. Just disregard that as something important that you should be doing. The callback humor, reference something they said earlier. I agree that referencing something they said earlier is a great thing to do. It shows your listening skills, but humor, again, can be a little bit risky. You're better off just engaging with that and asking a question. Humor, it's one of these things that if you're a naturally funny guy and everyone universally thinks you're funny, maybe that's a strength of yours. But for most guys, I would say that humor is really risky and it doesn't really land when you're first meeting a person. So maybe just remove the humor. But reference to something they've said earlier is definitely valuable to show you're listening.
I might jump in there, Tess, because there's so many good things you've said. Oh, I've forgotten them. Mini opinion drops. You give me a great idea for an infield video. I want to do a mini opinion drop. I think Donald Trump is doing an outstanding job. Do that with a bunch of girls, and I'd get some high view infield video that would get much more views than me legitimately trying to pick up some model with a philosophy degree. Because yeah, I mean, don't give your opinions. Okay, this is very, very valuable, and I've been doing this 19 years. I didn't start yesterday. I'm not some marketer who's trying to target men's insecurities or the problems in the world now. I'm a dating coach. I'm not a YouTuber or a marketer. For most guys, using humor is very dangerous. Now, let's assume 10%, maybe 5% of the population is funny to someone other than themselves and their close friends. Yeah, without being big-headed, I'm probably one of them because I've done so much public speaking. I've tried to use humor on my dates. And yes, it can work out really well, but it can also severely backfire, like severely backfire. And it gets back to what I said earlier. One of the biggest writers in an Australian newspaper said the best thing he got from observing one of my boot camps was never do more than you need to win the point. So yeah, humor, if you can build attraction through the methods we teach, I think you can really do a lot of damage there. I should have titled this, "Do not ever do this if you want to have good small talk." Callback humor, as long as it's not humor. So something else I was going to say, callback humor. Yeah, so don't use humor as a attraction tool, because I think in most cases, even if you're legitimately funny, it's probably, it could go good, but it's also a very high chance of going bad, because if you just build connection and use touch, eye contact, body language and listen, it's a very high chance you won't screw up. Just one little nuance on that. Sorry about the stupid words. If I'm doing a group approach and there's 3 or 4 girls, and there's 1 or 2 I particularly want to get into bed, I might be funny in front of the group. That could go back, that could go pear-shaped as well. That's something I would often do. Because if I can get the girls laughing, then the girl I want is going to get much more attracted to me. So that's where someone who's legitimately funny might tend to want to use humor, but I wouldn't use it one-on-one. That's my strong opinion after pretty much 20 years of this. Okay, we'll get back to us versus the world, framing, shared vibe inside a joke. This can work, again, for a guy who's got, like, if you're really good and you've slept with, 30, 40 very attractive women, you've had long-term relationships with girls who most guys consider 9s, 9.5s, you might be able to pull this off. It might expedite sex. It might build attraction. But if you just connect with her and touch her, you're probably going to get that anyway. So it's some upside, no doubt about it, but so much downside versus really connecting. Okay, another disclaimer. If you're like Russell Brand, he's unbelievable at this stuff. Not many people watching me are similar personalities or similar comic IQ to Russell Brand or similar presentation to Russell Brand, because he presents himself as someone who could easily be gay. He gets away with a lot of stuff that your regular busy professional who goes to the gym and plays tennis or football or jiu-jitsu or whatever, he's never going to get away with. So one thing to the early pickup artists, I met the mystery guy and I met the Neil Strauss guy, who's a brilliant writer. If you met them in person, is he gay? Is he gay? So yeah, even assuming what was in that book and what was massively bred and reproduced, even assuming that worked, it might work better if you had the Russell Brand persona rather than the serious sort of above average intelligence professional persona. Us versus the world, I'd need to see examples of that, but for an AI just to spit out, you should try to do that on a date as a 7th most important thing, I think was absurd. I mean, we should quickly talk about what it hasn't got. Open-ended questions, touch, eye contact, body language. It's complete fucking nonsense. And this is what guys are finding. It's complete nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, the last 3 points, I actually think are really bad advice.
I haven't even got to them yet. I just looked at it and went,
Yeah,
oh, this will be good. Because we've got...
don't even read them. If anyone else hasn't got to them yet, don't even read them, because I don't want them corrupting your minds. They're terrible advice.
Actually, we need to highlight this. I haven't even really studied them. We need to highlight this point. How do we get the pretty girl back up? Oh, he's screwed up again, the silly...
So, oh, James, all right, here you go. Here you
No,
are.
you don't want me. It's just you.
Oh, you want me to talk about the last 3 points? So, guys, yeah, I've just read these last 3 points. Number 8, flirty role play and assumptions. You seem like the type who ... Why would you ever make an assumption about a woman, you know, based when you don't know much about her, right? You go up to her and you say, oh, you seem like the type of woman who likes this or who's into that, or you seem like this type of woman. She's immediately going to think, okay, great, you've been checking me out and you've made some sort of superficial judgment on me, like creepy, or yeah, what makes you think that? It's not a positive way to start. And yeah, even when you're getting to know her, it's much better to just ask an open-ended question where you say, hey, so yeah, are you what sort of things do you enjoy doing when you're in this scenario, or something like that. Rather than making the assumption, just ask her and then she can answer you, and then you've got your answer, right? And then you just respond to that, you acknowledge it, you connect with that, and keep asking more questions. Number 9, fast topic switching without awkwardness. It's gonna be awkward if you do fast switching between topics. And what it does is it makes her feel like whatever she's talking about is not important, or you're not interested. If you ask me a question, I give you an answer, and then you change the topic immediately, the message you sent is, I didn't like that answer, I'm not interested in that, so tell me something else, right? So if you keep doing that, yeah, she's going to think, wow, this guy really just has nothing in common with me, does not like any of the things I'm into, doesn't want to talk about things I want to talk about. Just don't do that. Don't do that at all. You want smooth topic transitions that use bonus information, something she's mentioned. It just flows smoothly. Give each topic a few questions to show that you're actually engaging whatever she's talking about, and that you want to hear what she's saying, right? So yeah, just don't do fast topic switching at all. And what's number 10? Warm exits and re-entry. I'll let you go. Oh wait, one more thing. It kind of makes you just seem like insecure, or yeah, not confident, like indecisive, when you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll stop bothering you. Oh, wait, actually, just another question. It's, yeah, I would never force that. If that happens naturally, and because something comes to mind and you're like, oh, actually, this is important, cool, go for it. But please do not look at this as something you should try and be incorporating into your strategy for how to converse with women. It's yeah, it's just weird. Yeah. Yeah, if you're, and as well, when it does come to a natural point of exiting and saying goodbye, for you to constantly be saying, oh wait, I'm coming back, oh wait, I'm coming back, it makes you seem a bit desperate as well. Like, yeah, oh yeah, like you're trying too hard, you're a bit needy, or like overexcitable. Yeah, which don't make you seem like a confident, grounded, attractive man. So yeah, 8, 9, 10. Please don't even consider those things. They're not good. Here's James.
Thanks, Tess. Yeah, I mean, she just obviously did that off the top of her head. She'd never seen these before. Can you see how bad so much dating advice is? Hopefully you guys understand why we're talking about this. you seem like the type, you're just some loser who doesn't know her, trying to get a reaction out of her. Doing the other thing you understand is, I think it was 2005, Neil Strauss published The Game, and David D'Angelo, brilliant marketer, he really took many of the concepts and built a huge business out of it by information marketing terms. I think it was 35 million or something one year, just selling ebooks and stuff. That's a lot of sales. It's just telling you, it's like it's stuck in 2005 or 2009. It's just so bad. And so much of what you see on YouTube is just people rebranding this after doing a good marketing course or some pretty girl. Some of the female dating coaches you see on YouTube, I watch some of their shorts and they go, oh, that was pretty good. That's pretty. That's freaking awful. What is she telling guys to do? It's because, like, she's not even a dating coach. She's just some moderately pretty girl who's got some smart marketers behind her, who's getting a lot of views. Mind you, I can be the hottest girl in the world as of 2 days ago. I've just got to get to the right AI, and then everything I do, the hot girl does. So I might do it. I'm going to play with them in a few days, I think. That could be fun. So flirty role play. No, definitely don't do that. Fast topic switching. That is the antithesis of getting decent women into bed. Fast topic switching. You want to go deep. You want to connect with them. You want to find out what makes their heart sing. That's one of the biggest pieces of feedback we give guys. Stop, chop, changing. Stop, chop, changing. Stop, chop, changing. Again, all this comes from the mystery method guy. Warm exits and re-entries. If you like picking up girls in bars, which many of my viewers are probably a bit past, they don't want to do that anymore, and you're good and you've got other girls who are interested in you, that can be a valuable strategy. But that's not the first thing you teach someone in AI when you haven't said touch, eye contact, body language, open-ended questions, read. They haven't even said dress better. Oh my God. Try flirting when you dress like a homeless person. Anyway, I'll get off my rant. This gets even more interesting. We might just get rid of the slides. This gets even more interesting. I did this. And then I looked at the 3 AIs. You can probably guess them. That was the one that's probably not going to be here in a few years, or it'll get gobbled up by someone. That was just awful. Then I went to another one. I won't compare them too much. And that was still pretty bad. It was still pretty bad. It was better. It might have mentioned the most obvious stuff like open-ended questions. But then I went to the best one. And I accidentally pasted the wrong thing into the AI that may have provided some value as well as doing some damage. And it said that, and I pasted the wrong thing and then hit whatever, enter, because I'm a fool. And it said, yeah, that's some really good strategies to build attraction. So the best AI agreed with what the shocking AI said. And whenever I put any problem, anyway, whenever I say another AI said this, it usually takes the counter argument. So anyway, you get the point of view. We might, what do we do at this stage? We might just get on to the next point, then get to questions. Banners. Have you got the banners that are right at the bottom?
Yeah. So if you guys have any, here we go. If you guys have any questions about any of those things, chuck them in the comments. We're here to respond to your questions and comments. Number 5, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Magic cheat code to sex.
Sex, as the New Zealanders say. I can be a New Zealander and say sex on YouTube all the time, and the little algorithm won't pick it up. Sex.
Is that not allowed to? Are we not allowed to say that on YouTube?
I don't know. They're kind of peculiar. So I'll just pretend I'm from New Zealand. Okay. They won't be able to hear me saying sex.
I might have already screwed that up.
Let's have some sex. Sex after the live. Sorry, it's sexual harassment. I'll back down. I just enjoyed saying sex. That was something. Anyway, 2 ears, 1 mouth. It's probably more like 3 ears, 1 mouth. Maybe 4 ears, 1 mouth. This is. I sat and watched a YouTube video. I paid all this money for a dating course, and they just told me over and over and over and over again to listen better. They even taught me how to listen better. What sort of value is that? That's some of the most value we can give you. So many clients have done all my courses and spent a fair amount of money. And like number 2 was, I had to listen better. I had to listen better. It is so mission critical. This isn't in my notes. One of the gigantic revelations I had when, I went from essentially a 31-year-old virgin who had arguably I even penetrated properly when I was 27. 31-year-old, essentially virgin, one horrifically horrible sexual experience that lasted like 70 seconds or something, to whatever I was doing, running through models in New York and other places. The thing I discovered, and the thing I've really discovered by being surrounded by all these models in my business, no one listens to hot girls. No one listens to hot girls. Maybe their mum, maybe not. Sometimes their mum's jealous of them. Maybe their dad, maybe not even their dad, is scared of looking down at the cleavage and being Woody Allen for sexual harassment or something. They just don't listen. So if you're just an average guy, if you're like 20 or 30 years older than her, and you can just ask good questions and just listen, it really is a magic cheat code. You're going to be tall and handsome, have a Ferrari and a Range Rover and a big black schlong. No, just listen. Just fucking learn to listen. It is so absurdly powerful. It's so absurdly powerful. I'm really in rant mode here. But the most obvious thing,
James, you're freezing up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure why.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it's just started listening. I'm not sure why.
Tess, you jump into it.
Yeah, it's every so often your frame freezes, and there've been some funny faces. But yeah, for anyone who's just jumped on, 2 ears, 1 mouth, magic cheat code to sex means listen. We're emphasizing use your ears. Listen. It is the most important thing. As James was saying, you can ask some engaging questions, but if you're not actually listening for the answer and then using something that she's spoken about, bonus information, or picking up on what the key information based on the way her tone or the way her eyes light up when she mentions that part. If you're not picking up on those things, listening or even listening to the information, then you're going to go nowhere. It is so important. James is exactly right. For beautiful women, so many guys, they just come up, ask us, say their stupid pickup line, expect you to play into that, and then or even if they do ask an engaging question, you answer, and then they get the information completely wrong, or they just start talking about what they know about that topic. They ask you, "Oh, so Tess, what was the most exciting thing you did on the weekend?" And I say, "Yeah, I was surfing. It was really great." You say, "Oh, cool, yeah, I've tried surfing once. I went on this holiday in Bali and did like a surf. I went on a surf training camp, and there was this guy who was really blah blah blah," and just you're like, "Cool, wow. I just don't. Why do I have to listen to your stories when you just approach me?" He thinks he has to like impress you with his knowledge about that topic, which is completely wrong. It's about listening to the woman, engaging with what she gives you, and asking good follow-on questions to get her to keep talking about what she wants to talk about, right? So listen. And when you can highlight that you are listening by, repeating back some of the things you heard, or and engaging with some of those things, relating to some of those things that she's mentioned, and so she knows, oh wow, this guy's really listening. He's engaging with what I'm talking about. You're going to stand out above like 90% of men who can't do that. They just can't, because you're either too nervous or you've just got the wrong idea about how to impress women, or or yeah, you're just I don't know. you just have never had a conversation with a woman before. Yeah, listening's key.
This is so funny. So funny. We talk about style or where to meet women or listening. You guys go, no, this is boring. I know all that. And then you stop watching. Even with the pretty face talking. We've lost 7 people when we start talking about listening. And that's the thing, most of you, that's probably in the top 3 for nearly any of you.
Do you know how many times I've said to people, they've asked me a question, I mentioned paragliding, and they say, oh yeah, parasailing, blah, 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 or they start talking about skydiving. And I'm like, that is not what I said. That is not what I said. It happens so often, like more than 50% of the time. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, another one who just can't listen. You know, yeah, it's wild. It's terrible.
It's, yeah, if you want to walk in another Indian's moccasins before you judge, so many guys have so much hatred towards women these days. Red pill, MGTOW, black pill, red pill, blue pill, pink pill, orange pill, purple pill, white pill. I don't know how many bloody pills there are these days. But then if they ever get a chance to talk to a girl who's remotely attractive, it's just, they don't even freaking listen, and they expect her to sort of drop to her knees and fish their cock out and start sucking when the guy's a complete retard with women. So yeah, I mean, again, you guys are with pretty good retention. We just lost a bunch of you. When Pretty Tess talks about listening, it's so important. It's so important. I can't tell you a number of times my clients, they did what Tess taught them. They did what Tess taught them. They did what they learned in the boot camp. And they just sat and asked good questions and really tried to listen. We give you a lot of practice and training in how to listen better. Like these girls I never dreamed they'd get, who are like ex-models and 20, 25 years younger, end up on dates and in bed with them. It's like, well, so what did I do every other guy did? Obviously, they asked good questions and they dressed a bit better, they had a date plan. Often the thing that really moves the needle is listening. And if you look what's really moved the needle with the women I've been able to share my bed with, a huge, monumental part of that is just asking good questions and listening. People don't like hearing about the stuff that really matters. They just switch off. We'll probably get our YouTube graph going. 2 ears, no, 1 mouth, magic cheat code to sex. Oh, that sounds interesting. Listen, I'm going to go watch.
That means listen. So, yeah, the thing is, good listening skills give you control and options in the conversation. Gives you control because you've picked up all of the information that she's given you, and you can be strategic about where do I want to take this, or what's going to be the most beneficial thing to talk about right now. Whereas if you're just like, oh shit, what did she say? I picked up the last thing she talked about. I'll just talk about that, and then yeah, start rattling off some information that you know about it rather than engaging further. Yeah, terrible. Yeah, it gives you options, it gives you control, and it also yeah, helps you connect with the woman, because you'll just stand out above, yeah, like I said, 90% of guys who just can't do it.
Sorry to disagree with you, Tess. 90? 99.96 or something, especially in America and Australia. And it's so, like Monique, literally New York Fashion Week invitee, like on way to maybe not supermodel, but like high level proper agency model in the US. She was on that track. Yeah, all I want is some guy to just ask me good questions and listen to me like I get the whole time I'm working. It really is such a magic code. I can't remember ever watching a YouTube video and seeing some woman, some dating coach talk about it. Maybe they've done their metrics as like, when we talk about listening, people just stop watching us, so we're not going to talk about listening anymore, which I should probably learn to do more of. But we really are trying to help you. Obviously, we'd like to grow the business and get the chance to help more people. But yeah, anyway, we should move on because you people aren't interested in hearing about listening. What's our next point, Tess?
Our next point is
we'll get to questions.
The greatest of all time dating tip. which
Can anyone
is
guess what the greatest dating tip of all time is? The Michael Jordan, the Shakespeare, the Tesla, as in the inventor, the greatest that there's ever been.
there is a slight delay, but please, I'd like to see some guesses if you guys have any inkling of what this is. There are definitely some of our students here.
It's so boring. Tess says female psychology, and she's right at a bigger level, at a slightly more advanced level. But just getting from point A to point, even more than style, probably, because if you just have style, you're not going to get far. If you just have open-ended questions, you'll get a long, long way. Okay, so Tess, anything good planned this weekend? No, nothing. Go away, old man. I don't want to talk to you. So Tess, tell me about the best thing you got planned for this weekend. Tell me about the thing you're most looking forward to doing this weekend. So much harder to wiggle out of, particularly if we help you a little bit with the body language. Dates. The best thing you can do is ask open-ended questions, because like I started this, and the number one reason you guys have come onto this, the number one reason you guys watch any dating content whatsoever, for the average guy on YouTube, and probably the average guy who comes to our boot camp, is because when push comes to shove, you're scared of running out of things to say. You're scared of running out of things to say. Can anyone argue with that? And even if you're 5'1" and butt ugly and you got enough hair on your back to sell and make a jumper out of, your number one fear is you're scared of running out of things to say and feeling like a dick. Now, the way to solve that is to ask better questions and listen. And you're 80% the way there, just with those two things. So yeah, the greatest dating tip of all time is just ask open-ended questions. Don't ask closed-ended questions. Following on from that, listen. If you just do those two things, and this takes practice, which is why we give away these Zoom dates for tests. Camps. You don't just magically, you don't just go to the free throw line for the first time and get it in, let alone the 3-point line. It takes practice. There's technique to it.
It does take practice. I think it's you think it's simple. You're like, oh yeah, I can ask an open-ended question, and then we start saying, okay, let's go. Let's open-ended questions about this topic. And most guys we talk to are like, might take them a couple of minutes to come up with one. So yeah, David got that one right. Actually, we asked people to guess. David said open-ended questions. Well done, David. Jeff Max said plan the date. Also important, but about with getting started. Greatest dating tip of all time, just open-ended questions.
That's it. So boring, but so true. Yeah, how do you become a great salesman? You ask good open-ended questions and you're listening. You obviously got a bit of close, but yeah, if you just do that, particularly if you're selling anything slightly sophisticated, it's just so important. It's so boring. I'm not going to make a lot of money telling you how to ask open-ended questions, but if you could just try it, it's a miracle. I'm just going to hammer this point so hard. I went from essentially a virgin at 31, you could argue 29, 27, to models, to threesomes with models. And the number one thing I had that you guys don't, that most guys don't, that got me girls so far out of my league, it wasn't funny, 2 at a time, was I just asked them really good questions and I listened. And then when they finally finished talking, I asked them more really good questions and I threw in some touching. That's it. That's 90% of the game. Dress well, have a date plan. Read signals is really advanced compared to that, because you're going to get so much sex and attention if you just do that. So anyway, this is probably the most valuable for the person working on watching on YouTube. This is probably the most valuable part of anything we've ever put on YouTube. But it's boring. I don't want to listen and just ask you silly questions. I want to tell her about my BMW and my 170 kilo bench press or some nonsense. I do this shit too. I start for the guys who've actually watched a bit. I started with an anecdote of a girl with an insane body who I met on the beach yesterday when I'm very, very busy. I'm not thinking about pussy. And yeah, a few minutes in, I'm like, closed-ended question. Well, didn't listen well enough. And I'm just like dating coaching myself in my head. What the fuck are you doing, man? You're meant to be good at this. I'm really out of form now. So yeah, it's really, no matter what level of skill you have, it really is quite hard. And again, big-headed, if you compare the way Tess coaches and what comes out of my mouth to everything you see on YouTube, watch the guys doing the hardcore pickup artist videos. So many of them are interrupting constantly. They never ask open-ended questions. They never do anything, but they're much more entertaining than me. Big nose jokes only go so far. So yeah, okay, what is an open-ended question? Anything good planned for the weekend? Closed-ended. She's can just go, no, not really, turn her back on me and run away or walk away. It doesn't give her any much opportunity. You're actually asking her to invest in the pickup process, which is a mistake. Versus what I call a big motherfucker open-ended question. Tell me about the best thing you got planned for this weekend. That's a very mild example of one. Anyway, yeah, I just open-ended questions, open-ended questions, open-ended questions, open-ended questions, the GOAT dating tip. Tess, do you want to get back to our questions?
Yeah.
So yeah, before Tess does that, I strongly recommend, particularly the guys who've been here for a while, hammer us with your questions, because so much of the best content, according to our little YouTube graph, comes when someone asks us a good question that maybe changes the way we view something or teach something. Go for it.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, about open-ended questions, what that is, how it works, or anything we've talked about tonight, please put that in the comments, or any other just comments around what we're talking about. Again, open-ended questions. A closed-ended question is a yes or no question. Open-ended question is something that elicits a bit of a story or some information, some detail. So just another example is just on the topic of surfing, which we've been using tonight. Closed-ended question is do you get scared of sharks when you surf? That's a yes or no question. An open-ended question might be, so how do you actually feel when you're out the back in the waves? How does that feel for you? That's an open-ended question, right? I can say, sometimes I think about sharks, sometimes I'm scared. Or I can say, I love it, I'm not scared at all. I can just say how I feel. I can talk about what that is. It's not just, are you afraid of sharks? Yes or no. It's that's the difference. Let's look back at some of the old comments. We have some funny ones here. Earlier, James was talking.
Just before you do, the GOAT dating tip, greatest dating tip of all time. Open-ended questions, open beautiful women's legs. That's a write-a-downer. Write that down, apply it. It's magical. It's worth tens of thousands of dollars to you. It's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to some of you. Open-ended questions, open beautiful women's legs like nothing else, apart from maybe fame.
Okay. So any comments, any questions, chuck them in the chat, guys. We have a couple of comments from before. James was talking about a story about some being turned off by armpit hair. He's asking for some comments on that. We had Peter who says no armpit hair or bush for me. David also says armpit hair. So we've got a couple of guys agreeing with you there, James. Voice 1000 says not a deal breaker. Okay, so everyone, everyone's allowed to be turned on or turned off by what they like. James isn't into armpit hair, neither is Peter or David. Boys, not a deal breaker. Cool, that's good. Great for you.
I'm just jumping in there. I don't know. I've battled the way through it 2, 3, 4 times. I even dated a pretty sexy French girl as one of the first 30 girls I slept with, who's really good in bed and dealt with the armpit hair. But in your 40s, in your 50s, you just can't put up with all that stuff. It's really, really bad. So while we're on the subject of hair, you guys, I think we had a guy who was a big fan of the bare landing strip. What are your votes on landing strip? There's a joke about, obviously if a girl goes bare, she's a Brazilian. I've got a bit of an affinity for the Germans. I like a little wee bit of an Adolf Hitler there. That's I go for the Brazilian wax, not the German wax. So does anyone? It's like to know that I'm not being one of those disgusting pedophile things. So I do like a little bit. So yeah, I go for the German, not the Brazilian. What's everyone else's priorities? Does anyone like the old 60s, 70s? Did they have porn in the 60s? Probably. Do you like the big bush? The big bush?
The bush, at least in the last 2 years has had a resurgence, James. The bush. So
I think that's propaganda to control us. I don't think too many guys like the bush, particularly if you date women who be a wee bit promiscuous, and you want to make sure there's nothing there that could come back to haunt you for years and years and years. So yeah, not a big fan of the full-on bush. I think this is more of, I don't know. Has anyone had a girl with blue armpit hair? That would be something you'd want to try and report back to James.
David says trimmed at worst, and Ralph says, "Oh no, please not the big bush." Okay, so no bush lovers here.
No, that's something that went out in the early 70s along with flared jeans. Please, girls, don't bring back the big bush. Interesting personal anecdote. I won't say one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my life. One of the most beautiful girls I slept with. She had some pretty large lips, and she wasn't a huge fan of her vagina appearance. I've got a few plastic and cosmetic surgeons who are specialists in vaginal rejuvenation. They make really good money on those things. It takes a lot of skill. Anyway, if she had gone to take that beautiful face and body into porn, she might have considered a vaginal rejuvenation procedure to make it more beautiful. I didn't give a flying F. Her vagina wasn't the most attractive thing in the world. Who cares? I'm looking at the face and the boobs. So, she literally had the bush to hide the slightly, like the Caribbean French girl, gigantic lips. But this wasn't on her face, it was down there. So anyway, enough little bush anecdotes. What's everyone's vote? Do you like the Brazilian, which is bare landing strip? Do you like the German, where it's just a bit there to make sure you know that you're well over the age of whatever it is, 18, certainly over the age of 16? Or do you like the big 70s hippie bush that you got to sort of fight your way through? Or does anyone else have anyone like blue pubic hairs? I wonder how guys go with that. Has anyone split tested a blue pubic hair, her mental happiness and sanity versus a regular natural hair color? I can tell you, girls who have their natural hair color, in my opinion, are much more dateable than girls who put some color in. And the other, not my line. Why are there no dumb blondes? Peroxide. I wonder if that goes down there as well. Tess, you might know from your girlfriend's discussions, do women who typically dye their hair blonde, really blonde, do they also apply the peroxide to the pussy region?
No, I would say no. Maybe the eyebrows. Definitely the eyebrows. Not the nether regions. No, I would say they probably just remove that.
They go bare, so you can't tell that it's,
maybe, but I think generally it's darker down there anyway, so maybe that's acceptable. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know how you swing, and I'm not going to ask you, but yeah, if you get some Swedish Norwegian girl action, you can get some really pleasant blonde surprises down there. I've had quite a few, especially with a suntan. So I'm not really fussed about hair colors in the nether regions. Anyway, let's get back on to something. So I'd love to have a vote about bush types for you guys. Are we bear? Are we Brazilian? Are we German? Or are we 70s bush porn? Why is no one switching off now? But when we talk about listening and open-ended questions, like, this is boring. I want to hear gossip and banter about pussy hair. So, yeah, I've just found my next YouTube live topic. Let's debate the merits of different sorts of pubic hair on women. That sounds fun. German is fine. We have a German voting for Germans. I'm a big fan of the Adolf in between a girl's legs. I wonder if this is going to be considered anti-Semitic in today's world. We've got a vote for Brazilian. Most guys are too shy to express their pussy hair preferences.
I have to put this one up because David says my mum had to do that once. I'm not sure what you're talking about because we've been talking about dyeing pubic hair. I don't know. Let's not go into that. I had to have a laugh though.
Well, she might have grey. Yeah, there's a huge market in old chooks dyeing their grey pubic hair. You guys are joining. You're not switching off. You're getting it wrong. Doug Stanhope, he's an amazing comedian. We're dating coaches, but anyway, we might. Oh, they're switching off a tiny bit just to amuse me. Let's get back to questions and adding value.
Jeff, I've never been to Brazil, but I support their fashion sense. Ralph also said, I love The Brazilian by Genesis, great piece of the 80s. I haven't seen that actually. I haven't, is that a band? Yeah, I haven't heard it.
This is what life's like when you date younger girls. It's like, who's Genesis? Phil Collins, was he a president?
Sorry. Apologies, Ralph. Maybe I have heard it, but I just don't recognize the name.
She seems to have an invisible touch. Oh, the iconic. The iconic. That's from the 80s. That's back when we had Thatcher in the White House. We had a big stock market broom. Men wore pink. In the Air Tonight is Phil Collins' masterpiece, many would say. Anyway, let's get on to getting these guys laid. We're losing people.
Everyone's okay. Stavros says a bit of both. Jeff says everyone's paying attention now. Ding down there. She's a hairdresser. Oh, what? Okay, so.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So there is a market for a bit of peroxide or a bit of hair color down in the nether regions.
Oh, as in she had to do that once to a client. Like she had to dye someone's hair. Is that what you're saying, David? I thought you meant she had to do it herself. Anyway, so she's a hairdresser. So she's dyeing someone else's pubic hair. That's what I think that's what David's saying. Oh yeah, doing down there. He says, okay.
Well, with Viagra such a big thing now, you'd have all these. With Viagra such a big thing now, you'd have all these old ducks in the homes who are like, oh, I don't want to be all grey for my man who can now last for a few hours. So yeah, it's probably a big booming industry. The colouring of pubic hairs to old people, and there's more money in old people than anything apart from AI because we got so many of them these days. Anyway, I better fix my light up. Let's get back to the questions and adding value.
Yeah, we actually have been through the questions. Everyone's just going to the pubic hair comments. Any questions, guys, about some of the points from tonight? I'll just put them up again. Number one we had was no teasing, cold reads, forced banter, pick up artist bullshit, pick up lines, etc. Number two was feelings and emotions questions. Number three was don't wing it. Have a structure. Know how to tackle things. We gave you the greatest opener of all time. We talked about how AI dating advice is dangerous and broke that down for you. Some really alarming stuff there. Number five was 2 ears, 1 mouth, the magic cheat code to sex, which is listen, 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 listen. Number 6 was the greatest of all time dating tip, which is open-ended questions. And yeah, we've gone through that in detail. Questions and comments, guys. We're here to serve you before we wrap up. We have one question. Stavros is asking, where is the best first date? First date. Okay, date plan. This is quite complex and it's a bit off topic for what we've been speaking about today. Where is the best first date? It is a good question. James, do you want to handle this one?
I could answer this as a beginner or as an advanced. As a beginner, you just want to keep it quite relaxed. You never want to go out to dinner. If you've got any level of conversation skill, which hopefully most of you have come to a few of these, have at least got some, just a quick cup of coffee. You've actually got to have a date plan whereby, depending where you live, depending how many girls you slept with, how promiscuous you are now, how busy you are, how busy the girl is, you want to have, you need to have structure for conversation, like we talked about a lot tonight. You need to have structure for dates, because so many guys get these opportunities and they just blow them because they've got no structure. So the best first date is also going to depend on your hobbies and interests. I rarely, if ever, unless I need to, take girls to bars. I will tend to meet them for a quick cup of tea somewhere and then take them for a walk, preferably through nature or to a park or beside some water. And then I'll have a second place that hopefully serves tea or coffee that is somewhere near my bedroom where I can have another tea or coffee and maybe get access to a low-slung couch. That's the best first date for me. But I think you said you were really into heavy metal. So yeah, you may be more of a bar guy. So you just want to set up a date that matches your hobbies and interests, that's roughly in line with what you learnt about the girl when you met her, because you asked good open-ended questions and you listened really well. So that's the best first date. So quick cup of tea, a bit of a walk. You don't want to be stuck opposite each other for long periods of time. You don't want to be trying too hard by spending money or going to expensive, stupid places. And the other best thing for the best first date, this is a lethal tip I'm giving you guys. If you can't see a natural way to lead to sex on that first date, cut it. So cut it at like an hour or 90 minutes. You don't want to be the guy that she's really attracted to at the start, but 2 hours in, she's just lost all interest because you're not that charismatic to hold her that long. So if you don't have a way to close the date, then you want to definitely have time limits. So that's the best first date. Tess, do you want to add anything to that? Listen, yeah. Open-ended questions.
Yeah. Incorporate all of the tips we've given you tonight. But yeah, I agree with James. What makes that a great first date option is, yes, it doesn't cost you a lot of money. It's dynamic. You're going on a walk. There are different locations. That gives you stimulus to talk about, but it keeps it interesting, keeps things moving for the woman. It's not like you're sitting in a restaurant across the table and it gets really stale and you're just there for hours. And then also when you're moving around, moving different locations, potentially sitting on a couch or sitting beside her, walking beside her, that sort of thing. There's a lot more, gives you a lot more opportunity to bring in touch as well. And also rather than being in a bar or somewhere or even a restaurant where you're having to interact with the waiter or other patrons, or it's just when you go on a walk with someone, it's a little bit more intimate. It's just the two of you. It gives you a lot more opportunity to connect as well. And what James is saying, having the last point of interest near somewhere private like your place is just strategic for if it's going to lead that way. So yeah, a lot of really good tips there in James's first date plan. But also, you've got to think about what would work for you logistically and for your personality and for the woman as well. Samson Property Services is saying that David D'Angelo and Lance Mason did help him in his 20s. Do you want to comment on that, James? I think this is Simon.
Yeah, I was not a fan at all. There may have been some good stuff in there, but I've met both of them. I don't want to say too much on YouTube. Let's just say they've both got very, very different tastes in women to me, dramatically. I'll just leave it at that. But they're both very bantery, gossipy. I think David D'Angelo, I think from memory, his first ebook did give guys some quite good insights into female psychology. So he might have helped guys who are inexperienced with women understand them better. I think you can give him some props for that. But in my view, many of his techniques were not helpful at all. He was the big, I mean, he's a genius marketer. He's got quite a few IQ points on me. He was the big guy behind Cocky Funny, which so many of the stuff Tess and my female coaches and all these beautiful girls complain about, is some guy's a bit nervous, who hasn't had that much success with women, coming up to them and trying to put on this, like, you know, cocky, confident frame, if you want to use a neuro-linguistic. And it's just landing so badly. Sorry, go Tess.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's funny that you call it cocky confidence, because it actually makes you seem really unconfident, because you're not being yourself. Like you're being so forced, you're trying so hard, which equals like low self-esteem to me, and yeah, to most attractive women. It's like, why? You're trying so hard to impress by being fake, and yeah, by being cocky, and yeah. So yeah, the cocky confidence, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Take the comment down a bit, because I don't want to say this with the names of people on the thank you. Yeah, I know a lot of people who worked with a particular dating coach, and he was very high energy. He was very big on warming up, which I agree with. But what he had was he's a very good businessman. I think he's an ex-management consultant. He built a really good business, like a really good business. But I don't think most of his coaches really had much of an idea what they were doing, in my opinion. They certainly didn't have the sort of women I was sleeping with, because I was involved in that scene for a while. And what happened after he'd been running for a few years, you had these armies of guys going out doing mass approaching, but there's just very few dates, and very, very, very few that led to sex. And I know one of his head coaches who, be careful. Anyway, it might, for some guys at a very low level, there might have been like one or two really good steps forward, but I think there was so many steps back in what they were teaching. I sort of backtrack. I think David D'Angelo did help a lot of people, but I would disagree with a lot of the stuff he says in terms of getting a really high quality woman. But it might have helped the average guy just get an average woman for the first time. It did help men understand women at a very basic level a bit more, which was of value to the world. I think he's a good guy, but he admitted he just got into the men's dating coaching because he identified correctly that it was a great market opportunity. And he did sensationally well. I've swiped a whole bunch of his headlines, I must admit, and I've met him, hung out with him. I know a bunch of people he knows very well. Anyway, we'll move on to the next question.
Yep. Jones says, is this a good question? What character from a book or film do you most identify with?
I might touch on that, Tess, because that's quite an advanced question. That's a good one. That is an excellent question, an outstanding question on a date. That is a terrible question at the very start. This is where guys need to understand. I keep using nuance, sorry. Yeah, there's stages, there's steps. And what you do at an early stage, like, that's a great question. If I was watching you on your 5th or 6th coaching call with Tess, and you said that when you're on a date, I'd go, John, or whatever your name is, great work. That's an excellent question. If you use that in the first 10 minutes, particularly before she'd really shown much interest in you, I'd say that's fucking awful. Where'd you learn that? Mm-hmm. So masterful is too strong. But what's really, really good at step 4 or 5 is a disaster at step 1. And this is where if you follow a proven 20-year system, you're not going to make any of these mistakes. That's why a lot of the guys who get the best results, they just copy exactly what I do. They use my standard opener. They use they even use my leading opening questions. They copy my hobbies and interests. They do exactly what I do as training wheels until they take my structure and put their own stuff in there. So yeah, this is a fantastic example. I'll let Tess give her 2 cents in a second. Excellent question on a date where you got rapport and you're sort of heading towards sex. Unbelievable question. I would even teach it, but probably even before you've got her to agree to a date, it's probably not a great question. Unless you sort of have what pickup artists, what I call an instant date. Tess, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, that was pretty much exactly what I wanted to say. It's a good question. It's an open-ended question, and especially if you elicit that she's into books or film, then that might be a good question to ask. But if you were to just ask that before you found out if she's interested in books or film, it would come across like a line. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a bit random. Why would you ask that? So if you get into conversation, she says, yeah, I'm really into books, or she says, oh yeah, you say, well, what's your favorite thing about the last, this book you've been reading? And she says, yeah, I really identify with the character or something. Then yeah, it flows on. That makes sense, right? So, but you wouldn't just ask this question out of context or really early on. Exactly what James said. Yeah, I agree with that.
Questions, Tess?
Yeah, so Jeff Max said that time limit cutoff is interesting. I've experienced that. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, experienced that, but yeah, the date plan time limit, you say that's interesting. Yeah, so the idea behind not letting it drag on is that you want to leave her after the first date wanting more, like thinking, like leave on a high, not like, oh wow, God, I just spent all day with that person on our first date, and now I'm like, that was tiring. I've got to like go home and process all of that and like decide. I probably want a bit of a break before I see that person again, right? Whereas if you leave on a high and leave her wanting more, like, oh wow, I was just getting to know James, and like, oh, I think we've got some stuff in common. Like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that guy again. That's where you want to be, right? And it also makes you seem more desirable if you're not like super available, like to just give her a huge amount of your time straight off the bat.
That's exactly right. This is going to sound big-headed about me and Tess. I've never really heard that on YouTube. I know there are other dating coaches who teach it. Some of them probably copied me. But they don't understand the nuance of if you've got a proper date plan. I've never really heard of anyone who's got the sophistication of date plans that I've figured out. Not because I'm brilliant, just because I've been doing it for 19 years, nearly 20. If you've got a date plan that you're planning to take to the bedroom, you can definitely go much longer than that. I was talking about the girl I met in a bookstore that my 2 students who could have listened to this, I'd have charged them $100,000 for that demonstration. It was like the hottest girl you can imagine, eating out my hands, showing up on a date after I only talked to her for about 20 minutes because I was on a boot camp, slept with her on the second date. Miracle, like the most desirable woman I've ever met in an English-speaking country. Angel. If I could meet her now, I mean, she'd be impregnated within 2 years. But guys weren't really that interested. But again, sorry, I got distracted there from the point. But yeah, our second date took like 9 hours, but it ended in a bang. So, unfortunately, I was doing it in someone else's house. The close was a complete unmitigated disaster. I was locked out of my house. I basically needed to run around and keep her standing for 10 minutes and scale walls, which took a fair bit of athleticism and danger, run through people's backyards, and then climb over and find an open window somewhere on the second story to actually get inside the house. Thank you. Come in.
Yeah, so...
my food delivered.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the idea behind the keeping the time limited. Keep on wanting more, basically. Leave her wanting more.
Awesome. Trimakasi Banyak. Next question, Tess.
Yep, next question. Stavros says they're all streaming through now, guys. So yeah, is there a dress code for dating? Yeah. So it's not really as simple as wear this, but yeah, because it definitely depends on setting. But yeah, we general dating advice I would say is it's much better to slightly underdress than to overdress for the setting, but you don't want to look like you're trying too hard, right? But you still want to be wearing clothes that fit you well, colors that are complementary to you, and yeah, and you want to be well presented, let's say. So that includes grooming, etc. Yeah, you want to look like you're effortlessly sophisticated, let's say. Yeah, not trying too hard.
That's excellent. This is again where you need structure. Just with your questions, we've talked about structure with small talk and opening and getting anywhere. You need structure with dates. You need structure with how you dress, because how I dress in a 43, 45 degree, whatever, Arizona, Perth, Brisbane day would be very, very different to how I dress somewhere much colder. So there's a whole bunch of basics that, Tess has talked about. It must fit. Certain colors work well for certain guys. It also wants to fit your personality, because what the early pickup artists did was they had all these guys who were like software engineers, like 135, 140 IQs, who were a little bit Asperger's. They had them dressing like they were like rock stars or poets or sort of cool kid hipsters from Lower East Side Manhattan or somewhere, or Williamsburg. And it was just ridiculous. It's like, this guy's not some cool musician. He's a programmer with a high IQ. So it's got to be relative to who you are. We've got a formula that Tess takes you through if you book the coaching call. The link should be in the chat. Tess, could you pin that just in case any?
Yeah, what I'll do.
Go, Tess.
Yeah. Sorry, I actually.
Tess, yes, I've done dress codes for dating. Can you go on to the next question?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm just gonna put the link in the chat again for anyone who missed that earlier. And next question from Ralph is, some women ask so many personal questions already on the first date, or before, like it was a job interview, quickly digging for specifics. Sometimes I'm not sure how to handle that properly. What kind of questions are you talking about? Like, what kind of questions?
I might just cover that quickly, Tess, because this is a very niche question. That's a great sign. From memory, you're quite tall. She's attracted to you. If girls are asking you very specific questions, that's a good sign. You've still got to handle them very carefully. But yeah, if a girl's asking you lots of personal questions, that's a really good sign. Other side to that, if a girl's asking you really personal questions too soon, a little bit out of order, she's asking you about, have you been married before? Asking about your history or asking about your finances before there's really any attraction built early on a first date, that's probably a girl who's just looking to nab the first half decent guy she can get. That might be a really big warning sign. So there's steps in the process for women too. And if they're hitting you up about, what was your last relationship like? Do you want to have kids? How much money do you make? Do you own your own house? If they're hitting you up about that straight away, that's probably not the best sign. So yeah, personal questions is great. If it's before the first date, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I've never been on a dating app in my life. It just sounds monstrously useless to me. Maybe traveling has some value, or at least it had some value. In your own city, trying to meet someone special, it just seems like the biggest waste of time of all time. Before you even get into the fact that the algorithm's stacked against you and it might have worked a bit in 2016 or 2018, and it's a disaster now. So yeah, if girls are asking personal questions, that's usually a sign of attraction. She's bored and playing with you. Like, I don't know. You'll get some Irish lassies if you approach them at a boot camp. You're not attracted to them, just trying to do a warm-up set. I think my Irish goes into Scottish, and they'll ask you really personal questions just to entertain themselves over the pint of Guinness, and without being disrespectful to the wee Irish lassies, they know the Russians or the Venezuelans, those young lasses. So yeah, they're quite entertaining. They've got fantastic banter too, the Irish women. Okie dokie. Good question, Ralph. Any more questions?
Yeah, just 1 second. We've got
a 3-hour Scorsese movie.
Yeah, all the questions are streaming through. I hope we can get through them all tonight. Peter says, is there a particular occupation that helps you develop the necessary skills for small talk?
Probably work in a bar or something would be the best, but I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Something, maybe a therapist? No, I don't know. Something that trains open-ended questions and feelings and emotions questions. So like the opposite of highly analytical roles, let's say. Yeah, so maybe like a therapist or but yeah, more just I think hospitality, anything that's like quite people skill involved. Anything else, James?
I might just push back on that. We use the phrase small talk in part to get you guys to click, and it's true. If you want to go talk to a stranger, you've got to have small talk. But the idea, this is someone else's fancy line, the idea is to use small talk to move beyond the small talk to get to big talk. So if you just want to develop general, I can talk to people easier skills, anything in hospitality is really good. But that's not necessarily going to help you with the next step, which is actually connecting with people, whereby, a therapist is probably a good job, as Tess identified. So again, there's stages. I keep saying there's stages. You don't just get a girl on a date and stick your dick straight in her, because that's not looked upon very favorably, to put it mildly. So yeah, you don't just rush into what I call really big, strong, hard get to know you, close the date, big motherfucker open-ended questions, because it's going to seem out of place at the time. So if you just want to get better at sort of communicating with people, Uber driver hospitality is probably really good. But if you actually want to get really good at this, like where I sort of learned a lot was being a financial advisor, where I was 27 when I started, trying to get the life savings of 60-year-olds. I needed to really connect with them in order to get anywhere near the level of trust when they could have gone to someone who was 55. So yeah, great question. Next question, Tess.
Yeah, we have Simon says just a plain t-shirt and jeans, as I think that was a follow-on from the
I'll just
question
touch on that one. If you're an even slightly desirable guy, I don't know if I'd wear a shirt. It looks like you're trying too hard. So as Tess said, you want to possibly underdress. Simon, it may work well for Simon, because a shirt suggests you're trying to impress, particularly if you're a corporate worker. So I much prefer jeans. But for guys who might be fighting a bit to build attraction, having a really nice shirt, or even like some of my short Asian guys, I encourage them to dress up in maybe a tailored jacket. Whereas the tall, handsome, masculine, stereotypically attractive guy, I'd say that's insanity. So yeah, there's so much nuance and there's so much structure in this. Next question.
Okay, a couple of comments. History says scientific research found that women have a similar dopamine release when talking about themselves in the way you promote as men get when they see a beautiful woman. Sorry, I read that.
Comment of 2026. Thank you very much. History J1TK. That's fascinating. I did not know that. It doesn't surprise me. But yeah, if you book a date and feedback with Tess, we'll give it to you for $1, not $29. And if you do become a client, we'll look after you very well, because that's the best comment maybe the best comment we've had in the whole time we've been doing these, because you've taught me something, which you always love.
I think, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, actually. I'm wondering what, like, thinking about that a little bit deeper, I wonder if women do enjoy talking about themselves. I'm wondering why that is, though. Maybe it's because when you ask questions that get them to talk about themselves, it makes you feel like it makes them feel like you're interested in them. It like validates them, let's say. Maybe that's why. Yeah.
I think it's much, much, much deeper, particularly with the most attractive girl. If some guy actually takes the time to get to know her as a person, not just as a set of tits or set of legs or pretty face, that completely separates them from everyone else. They might start to immediately think about partner, father of children, etc., etc. And they might start to get a wee bit juicy down there and excited because of that. I'm not speculating. I think this is definitely true. Because if you take one of the top 10 things you'll get from tonight is, if you want to get beautiful woman, just get good at listening to them, because they really do not get a lot of that. And when you actually get to know, when you start dating most beautiful women, at their core, most of them are so freaking lonely, like so painfully lonely inside, because they're just objects of abuse and manipulation, sexual desire, and they're objects that attract intense fear amongst men and also amongst women. So they can really feel sort of, just separated from society. And it sort of goes two ways. Some of them take the red carpet they've been on since they sprouted boobs and think, this is great. Others actually go, why is my life different to so many other people? And they can become some really introspective, philosophical, really amazing people. There's a whole bunch of downsides to dating beautiful women, which might be a subject of YouTube Live. It's a lot difficult to dating a pretty good-looking woman, let alone an average woman. Not that I've got much experience with average women as sexual partners anyway. Maybe a couple in the first 5. That sounded conceited. Let's get on to the next question and do a 3-hour one.
Yeah. Jeff says, I worked in a bar. That taught me a lot about people and women. Following on from what we were saying, professions that might give you good people skills, small talk skills. Cool, that's good. James, do you want to comment on that, or we've got one more?
A restaurant's better because you can get a chance to build deeper rapport. If it's a sports bar, it might not be that much, but you're going to get a hell of a lot more easy action working in a bar, I would suspect, because you're a high status person to begin with, whereas in a restaurant, you're not really high status. We're going deep into advanced stuff here. Just fly through the questions. We don't want to hit the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, that's right. This is the last question. How long should you spend on the date?
You need to have structure. So if it's the first date and she's busy and you're busy, it should be short, sweet, and particularly if you're a bit older, should be short, sweet, and quite structured and very simple. If you're doing like me and decide to travel a bit and sleep with girls, or you just wander about during the day and try to meet girls, I don't even get the date. I sleep with them the day I meet them, and that's happened dozens of times probably, where I've met a girl and slept with her the same day. Sometimes she puts up such a big fight when I get her back to the apartment. It's not the same day. It's like 1:30 in the morning. Showing off a bit, we'll end with this one. This is how powerful this stuff is. It's not just you get a girlfriend, it gives you power over girlfriends. Some women might look at me poorly for saying this. I was dating a girl. She was literally studying to be a surgeon. Wonderful girl. When I met her, I'd just been in the city like 2 months, and I had 4 girls on the go. 2 of them were just sort of sex and a bit of fun. One of them, who was at that stage an 18-year-old Swedish girl, very hippie, very beautiful, very sexual. I really liked her. She wasn't going to be my wife, but she wasn't as fun or intellectually like the surgeon. The girl is trying to be a surgeon. So she whined and complained because I don't lie to women. So I said, eventually I let go of the first two because I didn't want to spend time with them anyway when I had the other two. And then eventually she was plaguing me, and I wasn't really enjoying being with a Swedish girl. It was just like a booty call for me because she wasn't really someone I'd ever take seriously. Neither was the surgeon, but she was much closer intellectually anyway, and she was much more fun. So yeah, eventually I let go of her. And then anyway, after I let go of the Swedish girl, the surgeon stood me up, and I'd stayed in the city longer than I planned to because of her. And she stood me up straight away. And she's always got the excuse, I'm studying medicine, I'm working in a hospital. So I was so freaking pissed off at her standing me up after I'd warned her time and time again, do not fucking screw with my time, woman. My life's precious. So I was so livid at this because I could have flown out and done other stuff. So I was literally on Chapel Street in Melbourne, Chapel Road, whatever it's called. And I was so pissed off. I didn't want to see her again after she did that to me. So I stormed to Borders Bondi Junction going, I'm going to get her back. So I did what you should never do. I just walked into a bookstore like a hunter on the prowl, as the hottest girl I could see. And she was in a beautiful like Chanel style suit. I just looked her up and down. I walked up and said, so, can't remember her name now. Tell me about the last, tell me about what, she was in the self-help section, funnily enough. So tell me about the last great self-help book you read. And she starts talking, and we talk about whatever. I haven't read many, but How to Influence People, 7 Habits. And she's really passionate about self-help books, which, by the way, is not a good sign for a woman. Girls who read a lot of self-help books are not the women you want to have kids with in general. So yeah, my favorite place to meet women is a bookstore, because if you go into a bookstore and you love girls who read literature, you go to the literature section. If you love girls who have philosophy, you read philosophy. If you love girls who are into health and fitness, you go to health and fitness. If you love girls who are into travel, you go to travel. It really is a winner here in terms of small number of dates and small number of approaches, end up in a lot of dates, end up in a lot of sex, and really quality women. Nothing beats it. Anyway, I'm crapping on. So yeah, I walk up and I'm like, I'm gonna get laid right now. I was like, ferocious energy. So I got her out the place, and I know it was 50 minutes or 55 minutes, but I got her back to my place within the hour, easily within the hour, well within the hour. And then I got her out of every single thing bar the knickers, and she had quite a set of boobs on her and a beautiful body underneath that Chanel suit or whatever it was. It wasn't Chanel, but it was expensive. And yeah, and honestly, it took me Tess said I've got a lot of energy. I needed every drop of that energy, plus maybe a bit of an extra snort, to actually just throw the energy on her to eventually get those panties off. It was like 4 hours battling for panties, because she said, no, I just want to go down and I just want to suck you off. I give really good blowjobs. I don't want blowjobs. I don't care about blowjobs. I just want to whatever. So anyway, it took me like I got her back to my place in well under an hour from a bookstore. Pretty good. I used to be pretty good at this stuff. And this was an attractive girl. And yeah, I don't know what, 4 hours later, I managed to break through the sex. And she was from a very religious, she was Asian background, very religious family, insane body, very high income banker. So yeah, so sometimes if it's a short, sharp date, it should just be 30 minutes. It should be 50 minutes cap. Other times, if you've got a bit more free time, or the girl's traveling, or it's the weekend, it should be a lot longer. So again, so much of what you need to be successful with women is the basics: touch, eye contact, listening, body language. But then you need structure to get yourself to the next level and probably get the women you really want. You've got to have a bit of structure behind it. So on that note, have we gone under the 3 hour market? We're going to make it by 30 seconds. Tess, do you want to quickly sign off before we go?
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for some of the new people here. Thanks for all your comments and questions and your engagement. And thanks for our regulars. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
And you taught us an important lesson, a bit of banter about bush preferences rates much more than cutting edge dating content. I'm not sure about this. Anyway,
maybe we should talk about that next week. See you guys. Good night.
What would you like us to banter about next week? See you guys.
Pubic hair. It's pubic hair. We already have the answer to that. See you guys. Bye.
Might be something better. Could be breast size and shape and density. That's a good one. I've got some opinions on that subject, I can tell you. Anyway, let's go. See you, Ted.
Bye.